going through what the rookies have done across the NFL this year at the wide receiver position, and especially because so much of the conversation last night, if you watched at all any of the two crappy games that were going on, about Brock Bowers and what he's done, and he's leading all rookie receivers. Also, you had Rome Odunze for the Bears, who started to play some better football as of late, and it got us thinking more about Xavier Worthy and how he stacks up there. But when you think about how this offense now is moving the football, when they do move the football, obviously, which is not frequently at this point in time.
At this moment, not often.
Xavier Worthy's become like the huge focus and basically the biggest piece of that the last couple weeks.
I'll be honest. I think Xavier Worthy is the Chiefs' best wide receiver. And I know you're going to be like, but DeAndre Hopkins has been around this league a long-ass time, and he was obviously a very good addition, and I'm not knocking that ad by the Chiefs. Xavier Worthy is their best wide receiver, and the Chiefs know it. The Chiefs know it because since the Bills game, who has been the number one most targeted wide receiver on the Chiefs? Xavier Worthy. Who has been the man who's been the most consistent in the wide receiver unit since that time? Xavier Worthy. Xavier Worthy over those last 5 games is on an 850-yard, 17-game pace. Now, look, that's still not 1,200 yards or anything else in between or some of these like numbers that would make it beyond. But an 850-yard pace with a couple of touchdowns, and he's getting targeted 5, 6, 7 times per game. They know he's their best wide receiver. And one of the biggest reasons why is he can get open.
Yeah,
Hopkins is the best catch guy, but Hopkins can't separate the way Xavier Worthy can.
And that's the difference. DeAndre Hopkins is still the better all-around wide receiver, but Xavier Worthy is the only guy, until maybe Hollywood Brown, we'll find out on Saturday if Brown plays, that can consistently get open and now is starting to clearly learn more of the route tree, hopefully getting more comfortable out there. And that's the matchup mess that he creates for opponents. And that's why I think we've seen the target share go up. And it hasn't been the deep shots recently. They've kind of adjusted what, early in the season, the only chance he was getting was going deep, and they weren't connecting. Now you're starting to see drag routes. You're starting to see underneath stuff, kind of what we saw Rashee Rice do a year ago. I'll be curious once Brown is back how that impacts what Xavier Worthy does in this offense. So I don't totally disagree with you. Like, best wide receiver, he's the most explosive wide receiver. He's the biggest matchup nightmare for opponents. Is he the best wide receiver? I don't know. DeAndre Hopkins still, nobody makes better contested catches. Nobody is consistently able to make the catch when you have to have it. That's still him. But I totally get what you're saying. Now, if we want to look at how we should be viewing Worthy's rookie year, I think if you're disappointed in what he's been doing, I don't know. Did you expect him to have 1,000 yards his rookie year? Because he's 7th among all rookie receivers this year. And if you take Brock Bowers, the tight end, out of it, who leads all rookie receivers, then he's 6th in the NFL out of the rookie class. And we know they've missed on some deep passes. So, look, if you're just going to say you want him to connect on those, sure. All of a sudden, he's probably a 750-yard receiver. He's got double the touchdowns as Rome Odunze as well. So, who's 6th? I don't think it's been a bad rookie year at all. I think this has been really promising. And you mentioned the Buffalo game, Week 11. Since then, he's going on that, I'll call it kind of the second half run that we were hoping to see and that Rashee Rice had. His numbers in the uptick is not much different than what we saw Rashee Rice do in the back half of last year.
No, he just started having 80, 90 yards a game instead of 50, 60 yards a game, which is what we're seeing right now out of to Xavier Worthy. But that could be simply boiled down to one thing. It would be 80 yards a game if he would just get once every other game, once every third game, one of those long passes that had been thrown his way. He had another one in which he was open in the previous game. Patrick Mahomes overthrew him by 7 to 10 yards. But it was open once again. So if those passes start getting completed just every once in a while, well, then he is a 1,000-yard receiver, and I can see a 1,000-yard receiver there. Look, if you want to make this a long-term conversation, I feel even better. Because then I know, starting week 5, 6, how long do we think Rashee Rice is going to be out next year?
Well, health-wise, I think he'll be available. The suspension part is the big question. So okay. I'll say mid-October.
So let's just say he's available week 1 from a health perspective. But then, it's mid-October before he comes back. Well, then a wide receiver unit in which they fully established Xavier Worthy as a real weapon and Rashee Rice is on the other side. Look, then you don't even have to worry about do we have to bring back DeAndre Hopkins? Do we need a 1-year deal with Hollywood Brown? You can explore those deals, but they're not the make or break for the wide receiver unit depending on what you get out of him. Xavier Worthy has shown to me, I think he's their best. I think he's their most talented wide receiver. I think he's their best wide receiver. And I think the rest of the way, if you made me guess from this week until the end of the postseason, who is the number one yardage getter for the Chiefs at wide receiver, I think it's Xavier Worthy. Like, I think it's Xavier Worthy. Like, I don't know if that's who you would pick, but that's what I think we're seeing in Xavier Worthy, is that they think he's their number one target.
Well, target share wise, that's where he's been. That is where he's been at the last couple of weeks. I think that, again, there's a difference between that and like best wide receiver. If we're just talking about who can get the most separation right now in the wide receiver room, yeah, it's absolutely Xavier Worthy. I still think on a key third down, got to have a catch, Cody.
Yeah,
it's
that's
Kelsey
fair.
and it's D-Hop first.
Yeah.
And that's just the veteran.
fine.
That's just the veteran.
And it'll be Rashee Rice next year. It doesn't need to be Worthy ever. Honestly,
sure.
There's other people doing that job.
But Xavier Worthy by no means has had a bad. Anybody saying he's had a bad rookie season, they're just not paying attention. It's not been a bad rookie season at all. And by the time we get another 3 games in, all of a sudden you watch Worthy's going to finish right around the range where I think a lot of people thought he could be, 600, 700 yards.
It's like we've been skewed a little bit because obviously different wide receivers do different things. He was taken in the lower part of the first round. He's supposed to be a viable player, but like this is a far more, you can tell when guys are going to be productive a lot earlier. This is far more productive than Sky Moore ever was. This is far more productive.
Sure, we knew that pretty early on.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was evident early on. But also what I don't think we should do, though, is let's say Worthy finishes with 700. Next year, though, if you're like, oh, he's got to be a 1,300-yard receiver, that's also just a crazy expectation. No, next year I would like, then the next step is, can he be a 900 to 1,000? Can he be an 850 to 1,000? I just, I get. He was a first-round pick, and we want him to be the next Justin Jefferson. We want him to be the next.
Cool.
We want him to be the next Devonta Smith and all that. Like I understand, but next year, I guess, are we already setting the table where if I tell you he's going to have 1,000 yards, you're not going to think that's good enough? Like that's my only thing. We shouldn't assume that next year because he had a 700 that he's just going to double his production next year. It doesn't work that way.
I'll be honest, Devonta Smith is exactly what I want him to turn into, and that is not a crazy number. That is, he was a 1,000-yard receiver last year, or he was a 1,200-yard receiver last year. That was a little high. 1,000-yard receiver the year before, and he'll probably be a barely over 1,000-yard receiver this year. He's got 916 now and 5 touchdowns. The dream scenario for me, based on the trajectory that Rashee Rice showed for a few games this year, is that they're A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But I'll take 90% of both of them. Does that make sense? Because that's what it feels like it's heading towards. Devonta Smith in his rookie year, by the way, finished with 56 catches for 662 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Very close to what we're probably going to see from Worthy when it's all said and done.
Dangerously close. So when we start talking about Xavier Worthy next year and the leap I want to see, I'd like to see him become a 900 to 1,000-yard wide receiver.
As long as that's where we're at. I'm just saying.
I'm not trying to turn him into 1,500-yard Jamar Chase next year.
Yeah.
But although in fairness, my expectations for Rashee Rice got really high before the season, as you remember. Like, I thought he should be an 1,100-yard receiver. And then I watched him for a few games. I'm like, I might have sold him short.
Yeah, the tricky thing with him,
because now the injury.
The tricky thing with him will be coming back from an injury, being it'll be over a year since he last played a snap by the time. That's a next year problem. That's a next year conversation.
Yeah, but like when you look at Xavier Worthy right now, I think there's a pretty good chance he's the player who's going to surprise these teams come postseason time. Because you're going to be like, man, I knew you had a good receiver in Xavier Worthy. But yeah, he doesn't rank up there with what Thomas and Neighbors and McConkey and Harrison Jr. have done. But to be honest, all of those guys but Ladd McConkey are losers. Bowers, they don't have anyone else to throw to. Thomas, they don't have anybody else to throw to. And some of those numbers become inflated.
Yeah, their teams are losers.
Yeah, they're great receivers, and they'll probably be better receivers than Xavier Worthy is in his career base, for all I know. But a lot of those guys are getting as many catches and yardage because they ain't got anyone else to throw to, okay? That's it. The only person they're throwing to in New York is Malik Neighbors, who is a great wide receiver, and I'm sure will continue to be. The only miss, I would say, is like if you made me redraft and the Chiefs had to pick at the exact same spot. They don't get to just go up and take Bowers or Thomas or whatever. And they had to pick at the exact same spot. The only one you'd find me trying to switch is McConkey. That's the only one where I'd be like, what if we did a little swap? Because I see how he fits the Chiefs offense. Outside of that, I feel really good where Worthy's headed. But I also just feel good about it this year. This is not like a just long-term thing. I think he's an important player for them this year now. It just took them, like it always does, 10 weeks before they figured it out.
Yeah. I think that having him and Brown on the field at the same time is just going to solve every problem? No. But I'm very intrigued about what does that do. Of course, it's going to make them better on offense. To what extent, I have no idea. It's going to depend truly on how they utilize Brown and where is he at. By all accounts and reports that are out there, Hollywood Brown is in incredible shape. and stayed conditioned and all of that, but what's the timing like, and how many snaps is he getting? Can they get him ramped up by the divisional round or whatever of the postseason? That's all stuff that is going to be figured out over the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about this more later on today as well. Nate Taylor from The Athletic going to join us in the 11 o'clock hour, right around 11 o'clock. Earlier today because the schedule shifted around. So normally a 1 o'clock hour visit from Nate. He'll actually call into the show at 11. But let's talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a little bit. You guys know the news by now. He was cut by the Chiefs yesterday. I don't know what his future holds. I think everybody in Kansas City wishes him well. I think there's a different view on him. It's sad that it takes stuff like that, but it's just the reality of the business that whatever your view is on him football-wise, I think people have a different view on him as a whole because of how open he's been about the off-the-field struggles that he's been going through. Clearly, the organization
loves him,
did him
as a teammate,
did right by him, to say the least, by holding him on the roster as long as they did when they knew he wasn't going to play this year, be available to play this year due to the mental health challenges that he's been open about. And I think what happened ultimately was a roster crunch. A lot of the Browns coming back. Some other areas, they at some point you reach a limit of how much you can continue to have a guy on the roster that you just know is not going to ever be active for you on game day. But clearly the locker room and everybody loved the guy, and I think he will have a much different legacy in Kansas City than how people were talking about him after year one. Because after year one, he was a first-round pick, and he had, 1,200 yards from scrimmage, and everybody was excited, but people were still expecting more. And then the rookie year was the best we ever saw from him. I think he was never the same player after the ankle injury in that New Orleans Saints game. He just never came back. Plus, perhaps we now know was dealing with some stuff off the field
stuff,
as well. I don't know if he plays in the league again. I'm not sure. How do you view him, though? Because I will never forget the opening game against the Texans. The reason why I will never forget it, one, because he played great, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it was Sunday Night Football, and he burst onto the scene. Here they go again. And you guys know I collect trading cards, and I had a rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire autograph, LSU card, and I don't know if I talked about it on the air with you. I know we were texting. Maybe we talked about do I sell this thing now or hold on to it? It's a rookie card. It's an LSU uniform one, so they don't hold their value. And I think I sold it at that time for $160, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to regret doing this. That was the high point. That was the high point
Week
of it.
one of the first game he ever played for the Chiefs was the best.
And now you probably can get that same card for, I don't know, $5 or $10. My point of bringing that story up is let's not forget what we were saying about him the first 8 games of his career in Kansas City. He was living up to the hype, to the first round pick the first 8 games. And unfortunately, it gradually kind of went down. Then he gets hurt, and then we all know. I mean, a lot of people didn't think he would have been on the team this year. They re-signed him in the offseason, but a lot of people thought he wasn't even going to be around. I think he's someone that people will be rooting for a long time. He's won multiple rings, 3 as a matter of fact, but he was clearly overdrafted. That's fair to say if we're just talking about the football. He was clearly overdrafted. That's not his fault he got drafted in the first round, but he should not have been a first-round pick. They were comparing him to Brian Westbrook.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, not us. That was Andy Reid's direct comp for CEH. Look, if you said, did the pick work? No. Is he a first-round bust? Yeah. I mean, he's got 2,000 total yards, career yards, as a guy they took 4 years ago in the first round. It did not work. There's no argument that it didn't work from a football field perspective. And this is why people will always tell you, don't take first-round running backs, all the normal stuff.
And it didn't help that in the same year, of course, you had Jonathan Taylor end up turning into one of the better backs in the league.
Like the pick after or whatever. And has remained one of the better backs.
Happens every year in the draft. It just so happens it was this player, this position.
Yeah, T. Higgins was the pick after that, and that would obviously have been a better pick. There were plenty of people who you could have taken instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. First-round picks always seem to go in this special little category where you're like, well, here we go. Glenn Dorsey. Yeah. What a nightmare. Jonathan Baldwin, where we just discussed them as these players that never panned out. I kind of want to, and it's easy because those are all football things, and he deserves from a football perspective to be lumped in with the rest of those. But with him in particular, and I had said this in a day in which you were out, because of the off-field stuff, I am always going to view it differently. One, because of a 3-time Super Bowl champion. So Glenn Dorsey don't have that in town. So no matter how big of a bust you were, you got to hold rings and do this stuff. And by all accounts, was the ultimate teammate, even in the face of a lot of severe adversity. But oh man, going back and listening to that Pivot podcast and all the stuff he was dealing with, for all I know, this was a pick that did make sense and would have worked fine. No, he wouldn't have been a superstar or anything like that, but would have worked fine for a 4-year run had he not suffered from PTSD, dealt with this additional stuff. And then, like, some of the stuff, like the way he handled himself during the parade shooting or other stuff, I'm going to remember, this is going to be the most fondly I remember a first-round bust ever by a mile because of the person. So, like, that part is weird because typically what happens is with first, this is where he's going to land in this weird special category.
That's why you have to separate the two. I think, there's the reality of the football side of things did not live up to the pick, but also I think as people got to know him more, whatever, people also are going to always kind of have that in the back of their mind about his career as well, and some of the things that he did in the community, and obviously how open he was, and by him speaking about some of his challenges, I'm sure it did help some people. But yeah, on the football end, look, I mean, his rookie year, he had 803 yards on the ground and almost 300 receiving. After that, he played in 10 games, and 15 games. I mean, he couldn't stay healthy. It was not the same running back after that ankle injury. It makes you wonder what if, and there's so many stories of that in the league, but what if that ankle injury doesn't happen? What kind of player is he? And then Isaiah Pacheco comes along in 2022, and it was pretty clear that he was the better running back, or what was it, 2022, I think, when Pacheco. So he was clearly the better back at that point in time. And, this particular season, though, I think the organization deserves also a ton of credit in a sport that can be absolutely brutal and cutthroat. Yeah. A lot of teams would just cut him at training camp, would have said, okay, we're sympathetic, but you're not playing for us. We can't hold a spot. They did, because it tells you how much respect the locker room had for Clyde, that they held on to him till week 16. They did their damnedest to try to keep him on the roster all year. Ultimately, they ran into a roster crunch, it looks like.
And I apologize, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He wasn't here for the first one. Gotcha. He'd come right after the first Super Bowl. But still, when you look through it, it's like, and honestly, let's just look back in retrospect. You know how this pick went bad? Like, because of all this stuff I said, like, I'll always remember Clyde fondly because multiple Super Bowl championships and because he's a good dude and all the things he did in Kansas City that I think were good for the city. I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not sure I couldn't have had 1,000 yards at LSU the year he played. Holy cow. That is the single most stacked offense in the history of college football.
Okay.
His two wide receivers were I'm obviously being hyperbolic.
He had three good ones.
Dude.
It was the most stacked roster ever.
Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase.
And Terrence Marshall.
And Terrence. 3 NFL wide receivers. And Terrence Marshall was also being the beneficiary of, like, sucking up some of the lack of coverage because he shouldn't have been drafted or he was drafted either, obviously. And it turns out Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson might have been making coverage easier for you at your time at LSU. I don't blame them for the thought. For the same reason, I understand why they took Xavier Worthy this year. I want the Chiefs taking weapons around Patrick Mahomes. Yes, I want a good offensive line. Yes, I want defensive linemen. But every 2, 3, 4 years, when you're in the first round, it shouldn't just be, here comes another defensive end. Here, it should be a wide receiver sometimes. It should be maybe in the second round, a high-level running back that you think fondly of, because those guys get turned and burned a lot in this league. And having an elite-level back, you see what it does for Jared Goff. You see what having Gibbs and Montgomery did for him the entire year. Having a good offensive line does. I got the idea at the time. But obviously, they got the wrong back. Had they gotten Jonathan Taylor? I don't know. Maybe
it's one of those, like, would Jonathan Taylor be getting the workload he got in Indianapolis because we how many times we have the run the ball more segment and all that. I think Jonathan Taylor, obviously, receiving back wise, would have been interesting in this offense. Look, they thought he was going to be, Brian Westbrook. That was the audio that we played the day after Clyde was drafted. We also had the audio where they claim, Patrick Mahomes. Remember the Andy Reid audio where he's like, Clyde, Patrick chose you or whatever. Remember that whole thing that was a big deal at the time?
Oh, yeah.
I remember doing that show.
Pat should not be the GM, I guess, if that was what really happened.
Yeah. I mean, again, as we discussed it, it's one of those where Brett Veach said, hey, we're going to take this guy. What do you think? And Pat's probably like, yeah, go take him. I want him.
Sounds cool to me.
So therefore, that's, it's a great story. It sounds like it becomes a great story. That was at the time. I think we were doing shows from your basement at the time. I think I recall doing that post-draft show. That was back right after. That was COVID.
Yeah, that sounds
right. That was a COVID draft, wasn't it? That's the other thing about his career. Like, wasn't that the COVID draft, him and Willie Gay Jr., the same draft class?
2020?
Yeah.
I think that was the COVID year.
Not Veach's finest draft. Where does Clyde rank amongst his worst picks?
Not at the top, though.
Well, he's still behind Breeland Speaks.
Yeah, I mean, he's a first-round pick, so that automatically is going to elevate you.
Oh, yeah.
To this point of his career, he's been more, I guess, quote-unquote, productive than Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I know the jury's still out, obviously, on that.
I just want it for the
But he's
record.
been more productive.
For the record, I want it to be said. I didn't say that. Okay? Go. I
But
didn't.
there's no lie.
I didn't
That's
say
not a
that.
lie.
No, there's not.
There's no,
I'm not
that's
saying I
not
don't
a lie.
believe. I'm not saying I don't believe it. I'm just saying I didn't.
Right now.
say it.
Right now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Right now. I don't think you can say that that's a bad. That's not a
Breland
bad
Speaks
take.
will always be at the top of the list.
Yeah, he didn't make it to like 2 years.
It's too early to tell on Kingsley. Doesn't look great. Or
Tano,
Kingsley wasn't.
Pasquantino,
Sorry,
maybe?
Kingsley wasn't a first round pick. If we're just talking about only first round picks or all time
no,
picks,
just all time. Kingsley's.
he'll be in the conversation depending on where things trend. It's too early to completely write him off.
Yeah. As of right now, I think it would fairly easily be. I think he'd probably be like in the top 5 at worst, and that's partially just because of like how high he was taken. Top 3 at worst. Right now, the competition outside of Breland Speaks, which was his first year as a GM, so I really don't care. Kingsley and Felix feel like they could enter this conversation.
I will say
but
it
are
can't
not
be
in
it
at
can't
the
be the
moment.
worst pick when if you're going to say the guy that you had in Brett Veach tenure. Someone's texting in Todd Blackledge. We're not talking about an all-time Chiefs history. We're talking about under Brett Veach.
He's just a baby, an infant, being like, Blackledge.
yeah. No, like with Clyde, like definitely can't be the worst one when in your rookie year you had 1,300 yards and you were part of 2 Super Bowl teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But what about Sky Moore? He was on 2 Super Bowl teams too. Yeah.
Sky, yeah, but that's
Clyde is
insulting to Clyde to suggest that his production was anywhere what they've gotten out of Sky.
No.
Clyde is much more
Clyde's
productive.
production way better than what they got out
Sky's
of Sky.
worse. That's what I'm saying. Sky is a worse pick.
And I understand he wasn't a first-round pick, but
No,
it's
he's
way
close
worse.
enough. He's like
it's-
15 picks later.
That was clearly a way. No, that's my point. Is
Yeah.
that Clyde can't be at the top of the list when he gave you 1,300 yards his rookie year and was part of 2 Super Bowl championship teams.
Yeah, I agree.
If we're
Sky
talking-
also has 2 Super Bowl wins.
No, but
Yeah, I know,
again,
I know.
the production part.
I know.
We just can't ignore that. Like, holy crap.
If you look at all the picks, I don't even know if you could say he's in the 5 worst. If you look at all 7 rounds.
Hey,
the
they also
problem is, like,
had
if
the
it's-
one pick that didn't even make it out of training camp.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, I'm
What's
never
his
going to
name?
rank him below
The Notre Dame
Kennard or
guy.
whatever.
Wayne Kennard, too. That's another one.
Like, I'm never going to rank him below, like, dudes who got taken in the 7th round. Those are just, those are, like, if we're talking worst picks of all time, I think we can all agree that it has to occur in the first 3 rounds. Like, it has to be like, for John Dorsey, one of the worst picks he ever made was Kavari Russell. Even though it was a 3rd-round pick, he didn't make it through training camp.
That's who I was saying. That was a Dorsey pick. That's who I was
Yeah.
thinking of, too. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
when you start making picks that don't make it through training camp, we're having a slightly different conversation if it goes in that. But yeah, someone was like, someone was trying to get mad at me for that initial Felix take from Drew. I don't want to like point this out. And I actually still have some hope. I told Gold this before the show. Because I think I've gotten a reputation of this show for being anti-Felix and UDK
Anti-K-State.
And anti-K-State.
Definitely
as a result.
anti-K-State. Definitely anti-K-State.
Okay,
Cody
I
Gold.
will admit, I did not like the pick coming out of the draft. I've made that very clear from the second that they drafted him. And to this point, I don't think I've been proven wrong. That was it. I would also still think that I don't think it's crazy that Felix Anudike-Uzomah could still turn into a productive NFL player.
I think we all
The
think
way
that,
that
though.
Turk Wharton turned into a productive NFL player. Would I call him that right now? I would not.
No, my issue when we've discussed these players, I think sometimes you are very quick to bury someone after like 6 games in and be like, well, just done.
I know, but
and it doesn't mean that ultimately the opinion is wrong at the end. I just don't think with certain players, even if they're first round pick, especially linemen, on a team that's trying to repeat or go for a 3-peat where you have clearly starters, you're gonna prioritize guys that can help you immediately over that. It's not there's not a runway that you have maybe on for that particular season. I think sometimes you call a pick over, like we already know how they are 6 games into their career, and sometimes that is who the player is. Very true.
Somebody said McCole Hardman. I mean,
McColl's turned out to be fine because
has he been more productive than Clyde
Yes.
has just career-wise?
Yes, he has. Quite a bit more productive, maybe twice as productive, I would say, and has just as many rings. But I just like, I'm not disagreeing with you that sometimes I'm a little early. But I think sometimes we're afraid to admit that there are occasionally players, I think there's like 1 a year across, there's like 10 a year across the NFL, when you just know that ain't it. Like, I don't know what you were thinking there, but we can all, like, with Sky Moore, I thought right away, you'd be like, man, I don't see it.
Yeah, but all training camp, everybody was, you couldn't have been, not you, just people could have been gloating more about Sky Moore at his first training camp. Remember, like, it was, we had the interview with him. I remember we were at camp and everybody's talking about how amazing he looked on the football field at camp. And then, of course, so we've done it on the opposite side as well. Anyway, we'll get back to this, I'm sure, coming up later on in the show. Up next, though, let's welcome in our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. We'll ask him about Week 14, 15, heading into Week 16 now of the NFL season, and how was the Bobby Wood Jr. wedding over the weekend?
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
When it comes to financial goals, everyone has that one thing you want to accomplish. Raise your credit score, give your kitchen a well-deserved glow-up, or eliminate credit card debt. At Main Street Credit Union, your main thing, well, that's our thing. It's what we're passionate about, helping you achieve your main thing. So bring us your wants, your needs, and your goals. We'll provide you with the tools to achieve them. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
Christmas is just around the corner, and if you're wondering what gifts to give friends and family, no worries. Gates Barbecue is here to help. Gates gift packs and combo packs are tasty gifts for the barbecue lover on your list. And Gates gift cards and logo apparel are perfect stocking stuffers, or if you're exchanging gifts at the office or you have family out of town. Visit their website, gatesbbq.com, and ship right to their front door. Remember, buy Gates. It's a Kansas City tradition.
Neighbors getting new roofs due to hail damage this year? Then you're a likely candidate for a new roof, too. Century Roofing, voted best roofing company in Johnson County 3 years straight, is giving back this holiday season. For all roof repair and replacement contracts signed before the end of the year, Century Roofing will donate a portion of proceeds to benefit Operation Breakthrough, which helps KC kids in need. Visit CenturyRoofingKC.com for an inspection today. That's CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
The current federal government is actually going $1 trillion deeper in debt every 100 days. That's why thousands are turning to Goldco, a top-rated gold company, to diversify their savings with time-tested safe haven assets, physical gold and silver. Right now, not only is Goldco offering a free gold and silver kit, but on qualified purchases, they'll give you up to a 10% instant match in bonus silver. Call 855-838-GOLD. That's 855-838-GOLD. Performance may vary. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Do you lay awake at night worrying about what to buy everyone on your holiday list? Yeah, it's stressful. And half the time you don't even get the right thing. Well, Skechers is here for a holiday rescue with hands-free Skechers slip-ins. The right gift for everyone on your list. Think about it. People love their shoes. And once they try hands-free Skechers slip-ins, it takes that love to a whole new level. Why? Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching your shoes, no retying laces. Plus, Skechers slip-ins are perfect for everyone. Moms, dads, grandparents, kids, friends, coworkers. Just sneak into their closet, get their shoe size, and you're good to go. Plus, they come in everyone's favorite styles and colors, from sneakers to casual shoes, even winter boots. And they look so stylish, and they're the most comfortable shoes they'll ever wear. So, this season, save time, quit your worrying, and get everyone on your list hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Holiday crisis averted. Now go get some rest. Find them for the holidays at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Hey guys, it's Jim Costa from Cash the Ticket. If you're planning on betting college football bowl games, good luck. No, seriously, it's never been harder. And you don't want to be hurting your bankroll. You want to make sure you're doing your homework. Listen to Cash the Ticket. Mike Valeni and I will be breaking down every single bowl game, dropping new episodes nearly every day throughout college football's postseason. Spicing things up with a 12-team playoff. Can't wait to see some of those teams from the South come up north for the snow. Be sure to subscribe to Cash the Ticket on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. He's had songs written about him without asking for it.
Pasquantino, I want it, now it's time for Pasquantino.
Mythological creatures and sandwiches have been named after him.
Beefy and Italian.
And he also thought the Devontae Adams trade was going to save the Jets.
The damn Jets.
Welcome back to the show, our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino.
All right, it is that time of the week where we do check in with our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. Happy anniversary. First of all, I must say the sleigh ride through the snow is a nice touch, man. Was that planned by you? That was very nice.
Yep, that was planned by me. Did it all on my own. Talked with the concierge a little bit at the hotel, see what was popping out here, and that was recommended. So I'm not allowed to ski. Obviously, it's like number one in the contract is no skiing. So, but I can't get on a sleigh. So that's what I did.
I'm not gonna lie, that looks super romantic, Vinny. That feel like it earned you a lot of points.
Yeah, it's what I do. I'm a romantic at heart. Had a nice dinner last night too. So yeah, brownie points galore for me this week.
I don't think I've ever asked. There's no reason why I would have. But now you're talking about being a romantic. How did you propose?
I proposed at Loose Park.
Okay.
On the bridge.
That's a classic spot, man. Classic Kansas City spot.
Yep. So we're just Kansas City people.
Now,
that's where we got engaged. So it's great.
So I don't know. Like, it seemed like maybe it was a no photos with cell phones wedding because I didn't see a single shirtless photo.
That's because I did not bring my phone down there. There is a picture though, and if it turns out as good as I think it will. Let's just say there's a lot of people in that photo.
Okay.
So when are you going to release it? I can't be teased with this kind of information.
I don't know. I don't know when the wedding photos are going to come out. I mean, the wedding was in like 7 different national magazines, so there's so many different photographers that were there.
Yeah, do you not have exclusive people photos for your wedding too? That wasn't the case?
No. That is the difference between being a superstar baseball player and a decent baseball player right there, folks. That is the difference, the biggest one.
Yeah, the other part, though, we noticed was there was Whataburger, like a pop-up Whataburger. Like Whataburger, though, they made like a pop-up restaurant.
Yep, pop-up restaurant. Never seen that at a wedding before. It was a Whataburger.
I just hope that was it Jack or James, whoever DM'd you last week? I hope he's happy there has not a shirtless photo out there yet, as Cody said.
Yeah, no, Jack is because I'm just a jerk. I thought about DMing him and being like, "Hey man, is it okay if I post some photos from the wedding?" Just like Is that okay with you, Jack, or should I just post photos like at the gym or something? Well, I don't know what he wants from me, but I decided to just stay away from it. It's probably not a good thing to do that, but I wanted to.
It gets tempting, I'm sure. I'd be tempted. I'm not going to lie.
I think about Jack way too often these days, if I'm being completely honest. The past 2 weeks, he's just been living rent-free in my head.
Well, I guess Jack got what he wanted with that one, maybe. But you'll move on. Baseball will take hold here in February, so you'll be all right. Plus, we got NFL playoff time coming around the corner here in no time, which means we'll get your power rankings here in just a minute. But I want to ask you about a couple of the big dogs in the NFC. The Eagles and the Lions. Obviously, the Eagles continue to look good. The Lions lost even more players. Are you worried about the Lions' ability to kind of like last with all these injuries?
Yeah, I am. It's just the tough nature of sports. It's just like injuries can ruin a team. You build your team to be with certain people, especially in football, certain schemes, different things that guys can do. And when you lose that many people, that's terrifying. Now, the good thing is they're still putting up points. So you can score points. That helps you. But, yeah, it's tough. They've dropped in my power rankings. So there's your spoiler. Not far, but they've dropped.
Meanwhile, it was, of course, Buffalo who beat them, and their offense continues to put up a ridiculous amount of points. Their defense, though, has given up 86 points the last couple of weeks. Where do you view Buffalo right now? I know, as Cody said, the rankings we'll get to in a second, but just Josh Allen, a lot of people think the MVP is completely over now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're really good, but I think they've got a defensive coach. Don't you think it'd be weird if you had an offensive coach and you had won 2 straight games, like 6-3?
Yes.
I think there would be a completely different narrative out there. Obviously they're a really good team, but that's at some point the dam's gonna break if you keep giving up 40 plus a game. Even if you can score 40 plus, probably not gonna be able to do it all the time.
I guess where are you on QB wins as a stat? Do you attribute those to actual quarterbacks? Is more the team sport thing? Where do you stand on hey, they get the wins, so that counts?
I don't know. I just look at actual wins and losses. I think it's probably a tricky thing because if your defense gives up a bunch of points, but I don't know. That's why I think MVP awards are weird too, because what does it mean? Do you want to just give it to the best player on the best team? I don't know. I just don't really have a strong opinion on it because it's like in hockey, don't goalies get wins and losses? What if your team doesn't score? What are you supposed to do? So I don't know. I don't have a strong enough opinion to really speak on it.
Or in Josh Allen's case last week, score 40 and then not get the win, right?
Yeah, but then you look at things that they did in that game, and it's like, why did they QB sneak when they had their 3 times? That's even though that's called in, isn't that kind of his fault for running that play? I'm sure he has the freedom to change it if he really wants to. So obviously, there's no guarantee they're going to win that game, but still, you look at little things like that, and it's like, that's tough.
We're talking to our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. I'm sure you're wondering, we've avoided the subject for a second. There's not been a lot of times we've had you on the show when the Jets are coming off of a victory, so I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the Jets.
We're back. 2026, or what year is next year? 2025. 2025, we're back. You got to bring him back. You got to bring Devontae back. You got to find a way. Because I don't know if you're drafting a quarterback. I don't think Sam Darnold's coming. So we're in for another probably 6-win season next year, but it's really exciting. Really, really exciting. They're playing one of the worst teams in the league, and they looked really good.
Devontae Adams is still really good.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, you have Garrett Wilson on the other side, too. It helps both of them. It's just, I don't know. Their defense also gave up a bunch of points to Mac Jones. No offense to Mac Jones, but he hasn't really proven he can put up a lot of points. So the Jets' defense is surprisingly awful, which sucks, but the offense looks pretty good lately. Pass protection's pretty good. They don't run the ball worth crap, but when Rodgers looks like that, they can win, they can win games. They scored more than 30 points for the first time all year.
The Chiefs have only done that once, so don't feel bad. But since when you look at, and I want to ask you a couple of Chiefs-related questions here in just a second, but first, it seems like we're talking Jets, and the documentary comes out today. Are you watching that Aaron Rodgers documentary today?
No, I will not be watching that. He's the quarterback of my team, but he's not a friend of mine, so I'm not really going to watch his documentary on him going to Costa Rica and doing ayahuasca. Not my cup of tea.
Okay.
But for those that it is, happy for you.
What's on Netflix these days for you?
I've been watching The Blacklist a lot. I'm almost done with it. We've got 4 episodes left. Got to find a new show after that. So I I like shows that have a ton of seasons that I can just dive into.
There's a Hallmark movie you should watch, Vinny. I don't know if you've heard.
You're in it, aren't you? You're in it.
That's right. Yeah, my car is in it for about 2 seconds. My side of my face for about a half second. The Chiefs Hallmark movie. Yeah, you should definitely watch it. The wife will love that.
Yeah. Okay.
Feels like a maybe.
Cody mentioned the Chiefs, though. How many times we've had you on the show, we've been talking about Patrick Mahomes having an ankle injury, and we've reached that point in the time of the season where, unfortunately, he once again has an ankle injury, and that's the number one story in Kansas City, as you can imagine, this week is he going to play Saturday? Should he play? What's the recovery like? As someone that has had injuries, I'm not asking you to exactly deal with his particular injury, but just how do you see this week playing out as any athlete that's trying to rehab from something and knowing that there's the balance of protecting yourself, but also, I'm sure, he, of course, wants to be out there on Saturday?
I don't know. I don't think there is such a thing as protecting yourself as an athlete. That's on the trainers and the coaching staff to do that. Like, if I think I can go, I'm going to go. And if I don't think I can go, like, I'm basically on my deathbed. And I'm saying that's the general consensus. Except for the linebacker for the 49ers. But I mean, that's kind of your job. Like, you get paid to go out there and do your thing as best as you can. And a lot of times you're not 100% healthy, especially at this part of the year in football. Like, for us, once you hit like July, August, September, like, nobody's 100% healthy. Obviously, this is a strange case for the Chiefs because the 1 seed is all but locked up. What, do you got to win 2 games to automatically get the 1 seed?
Yes.
Or if the Bills lose one and you guys win one. So I don't know. It probably depends on the severity of it, of what they feel like they can, do they feel like, I mean, it's tough 3 games. Maybe they don't necessarily want to put them out there and show those teams that they might be playing soon what the team looks like. I don't know if there's any sort of gamesmanship or strategy to that, but he's going to be doing whatever he can to be on the field.
Somebody, by the way, on the text line is warning you're going to hate the ending of the Blacklist. So I'm just preparing you now. I don't know. They're warning. They're warning that the finale might not be good. What is? I guess like you had an injury, and certainly like the dynamics between different players. But like, let's just say Bobby said, "I'm playing," because he's Patrick Mahomes, right? Like the level of player and the dynamic between it. Can a coaching staff? Does anyone ever really stand in the way of a player like that? If Mahomes is like, "I'm playing," I don't really care what you say.
You think Bobby played 161 last year because the coaching staff wanted him to play 161?
No, he's just like, I'm playing and you can't take me out.
Yeah, he DH'd once. You look at Sal as well. You look at guys like that. Like, there's a reason they're out there as much as they are, right? It's because that's their job. They know it. It's what they think. Like, it's what they are good at, is being out there every day. It's not the argument I can make because I get hurt every year apparently, which I'm working on, by the way, trying to figure out how to stop that. But like, those guys don't want days. It doesn't, in their minds, it doesn't make them better to have a day off because sometimes days off are more stressful than days on because you're not sure if you should get ready for the game at what certain point. So like for them, just staying in that everyday routine is better for them. And sometimes that's probably tough on coaching staffs, but that's the job of the player is to sometimes make the coach's job hard because you're ready to go every single day.
All right, here comes the music. A little power ranking from Vinnie Pasquantino. Let's hear the top 5 latest power rankings heading into Week 16.
The Chiefs are number 1. The Eagles are number 2. The Bills are number 3. The Lions are number 4. And to be honest, those are my 4. There's a whole bunch of teams that could be 5. Like, I think the Steelers are still pretty good. I know they got beat. I guess I'm going to go with the Vikings at 5, with the Packers being 5-6. That's where I'm going to go. That division's really good. The what is it? The NFC North?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I keep wanting to call it the NL Central, but that's not what it's called.
Right.
NFC North.
So Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Lions, Packers?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. But also, this just reminded me, I've been doing this show this is my 3rd year doing the show, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever connected those dots, but I just want to let you know that that's just a fact. So you're welcome, Kansas City.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about the connection. Alex and I have pointed out a bunch of times, we have been to 3 Chiefs Super Bowls. They've won all 3. The only one we didn't go to was Tampa Bay. So.
Well, you guys will have fun in Louisiana this year, down in New Orleans.
We've already joked with the boss. We're like, hey, if they make it, we don't go. Just it's on you. It's on you if this team doesn't three-peat. So the boss is well aware of that. That's true. I guess, Vinny, as long as the Chiefs keep winning Super Bowls, then you obviously got to keep staying on as our viNFL insider. Last one for you, though, just heading into the final couple weeks of the season, do you have, out of these perceived wild card teams, it looks like on the AFC it's going to be the Broncos and Chargers as two of them. We'll see NFC, maybe it's the Commanders, something like that. Is there any outside of your top five that you could see making a run during the postseason as things stand right now?
Well, I think that out of the AFC, probably the Broncos. The Chargers, have they beaten anybody good?
No.
No offense, not to be hot takey sports radio, but they haven't really beaten anybody good. The Broncos seem like they're probably the best poised to make a run out of one of those spots, just because it seems like Bo Nix is playing pretty good. Their defense is pretty good. And I only say their defense is good because Pat Surtain's like the best corner in the league, and that's my only evidence that their defense is good. Haven't seen a whole lot of Broncos football this year, but they have Pat Surtain. He's a very good football player. So I'm going to go with them in the AFC, and then in the NFC, I'm going to go with my Packers. They run the ball, and I like Josh Jacobs quite a bit.
That's a good choice. I think the Packers are a sneaky NFC
The
title
Packers
game.
are kind of in trouble.
They're so banged up.
Like, they're so banged up, and they could get the 5 seed. Like, not to bring up old stuff, but you don't want Jared Goff playing outside in the cold.
No, it's a fair point. That has absolutely been
hands.
discussed. They've played so many of their games indoors, even just the way that whole division has multiple games, obviously, between the Vikings and Lions, where they're already playing indoors. So the Lions team is only, what is it? Somebody put out the stat, Cody. What is it? The Lions only playing outdoors like 4 times, 5 times, something like that this entire season. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially with David Montgomery going down, that hurts their run game a bit. You want to stay inside if you're them.
All right, Vinny, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the weekend, and it sounds like maybe you finally have a weekend to relax a little bit after all this traveling. So.
No, it is go time in terms of getting ready for the season now. When I get home, I get home tomorrow night. It is officially go time. Are we doing this next Tuesday? It's Christmas Eve, huh?
Christmas Eve, we're off. Do you want to come on Monday instead?
I'm really more of a Tuesday guy, but I guess I could do Monday.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Thanks, man.
All right, we'll see you guys.
There you go. It's Vinnie Pasquantino, our viNFL insider. Maybe he'll join us next Monday. We'll see. But yes, next week, Chiefs, of course, are playing on Christmas Day, which is Wednesday, and we're all off a little bit off and on over the next couple of weeks due to the holidays. So it's that time. It's kind of that time of the year, right, where everybody's trying to navigate their holiday schedules and everything.
I think the Bobby Wood Jr. thing is very real when it comes to, like, if Patrick Mahomes on Friday says, I don't care what you say, I am playing.
Awfully hard to not have him play.
Very difficult. But look, I also understand, like, Carrington had a doctor on yesterday on his show, and she was talking a little bit about the injury and the possibility of the offseason surgery and all this stuff, Gold. And there's part of me that wonders that same thing, which is the long-term lower leg injuries at some point you have to fear pile up. Do you not? Like, at some point,
I heard the same interview.
There's going to be a little bit worried.
So it was Dr. Jesse Morse. He, if you're on social media, you see him. I think he's specifically kind of covered more NFL injuries since 2017, but he's been a doctor for 25 years or something, I believe he said. He was on with CDOT yesterday. And I also heard him say, though, that he didn't think the sitting him out wouldn't necessarily lead to, like, he said this is like something he's going to be dealing for another 5 or 6 months. Like, he's not going to feel right for 5 or 6 months, meaning that if you think that by him sitting 2 weeks, he's suddenly going to be way more mobile again, he kind of pushed back on that a little bit. There's obviously a re-injury risk, but if you just think like, if he sits 2 games, he's just going to be way more mobile, and he might have more, he said he might have more confidence in his ankle, but ultimately it's still going to be a problem. Like, we remember this from a couple of years ago where 1 year Mahomes had to have a little a procedure done in the offseason. The other years it took until like April or May for him to actually feel right. So this isn't like, if you're my thing was sitting him on Saturday.
Mine is just like, how many of these lower leg things can you suffer before it's a real problem? Like, you have to have serious surgery, not like a cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know what the exact procedure was a couple of years ago. The same doctor, though, also with Carrington yesterday. You should listen to the full interview. It's up on the Odyssey app. Mentioned that a lot of athletes, this is what he said, I trust him on this. He said a lot of athletes are a little cautious on getting surgery on the ankle because while they might have more confidence in it, their mobility is less. Like, the ankle doesn't do what it's usually used to doing, even after a procedure, and therefore can cause other injuries. because other parts of your body are whether it's more stress on or whatever. Listen to the full interview. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but
sure.
I thought that was kind of interesting about it.
It is. And I understand that. Like, I understand the fear to like limit yourself in that day. But like at some point, if I'm the Chiefs, the only thing that would be brought up with this, and this is why I would say, like, once again, the entire offseason is about fixing the offensive line. He's now suffered a relatively, Gold, I would say, high number of lower leg injuries. 3 times with the ankle, 1 time with the knee. Like, it's always players in and around his legs. And while I think that there's probably no quarterback in the league more qualified to play with an ankle injury than Patrick Mahomes at this point, like, I do think at some point you got to start being like, I can't keep letting his ankles get hit like this.
This is what the Dr. Jesse Moore said with CDI yesterday. Does he think Mahomes will actually play on Saturday?
I know his history well. I don't know him personally, but I study NFL players and injuries. I've been doing this since 2017. So there's certain guys that you will have to chop off their leg to get them out of the field, and this is one of those guys. They're in a good position right now, so maybe they say, hey, no, we're going to have you take off this week. But if it's up to him, he's going to play. That's just who he is. That's just the caliber of competitiveness he has. He has never missed a game due to an ankle injury, and this is number 6. So if history is any indicator, he will play through this like he has the others.
The only difference, of course, is they're in the middle of a 3-game and 11-day stretch. Otherwise, that's pretty notable. 6 ankle injuries, and he hasn't missed a game because of it.
I mean, it doesn't – stats don't lie on that one, right? He's had that many, and he's never missed a game. And it's not like – and I would say, like, this isn't like – I don't think he'd play if the Wednesday game was this week, right? If it was Saturday to win – like, if he got hurt on Saturday, he's not playing Wednesday.
Right.
And I know it's a short week. It's a day. It's a day. It's not a short week, really. The next one, that's short. I'm not saying one day's not nothing for NFL healing perspective, but it's not this massive difference, this 24 hours hypothetical. Or not even hypothetical, the 24 hours. The 3 days after, my concern is if you get rolled up there once, you are just cashing the ticket that says you're not playing Wednesday. And now 10 days after that, you're going to get plenty of rest. So if you can get through, this is always the challenge. If you can get through the 2 games in 4 days scenario, well, then you get 10 days to ice, elevate, rest, do whatever before you get Denver, and that game might not matter.
Now, this was what Dr. Jesse Moore said about the offseason and what you were alluding to, more the longer-term stuff.
Now, Mahomes, unfortunately, is no stranger to this injury. He's had this several times before. He had a left one in 2019. He had the right one, which is what he suffered this time. If you remember, late in the playoffs in 23, it was a grade 2, so worse than he's currently dealing with. He powered through that, and then he suffered that re-injury, if you remember, in the Super Bowl 2 years ago when he was hobbling like crazy. He reportedly avoided surgery, which is part of the reason probably he ended up suffering at this time, because if you do surgery on this, usually they put a tightrope procedure where they basically cinch it together and they put a screw through it, but it also makes it a lot harder to re-injure. So he had a couple ankle sprains earlier this year, predominantly on the inside of the left ankle, but unfortunately this one was a high ankle to the right that they confirmed last night.
The other part is
background on what potentially could happen and what hasn't happened.
Sounds awful.
And
I guess the one argument for the surgery against is the same one he said before. If you've had an injury to your ankle 6 times and you've never missed a single game as a result of it, is it that big of a deal?
Well, the fact that it's grade 1, he said grade 1 versus grade 2. He's played through a worse ankle injury than this one.
On shorter
The
notice.
only difference, again, in terms of availability, is that you know what you're dealing with. You have a number 1 seed with the short turnaround Saturday to Wednesday. That's the difference here. Otherwise, the numbers would show you, based off of how many times he had this injury, that he's going to find a way to play on Saturday. That him playing on Saturday is different than the conversation, if some people want to have it like we did yesterday, which is, should he play? There's the difference. And I heard Damon Hughes this morning talking with Bob about it. I know Mitch Holthus last night, Chiefs Kingdom show, and was discussing it as well. Like, if Mahomes wants to play, basically, and can play, he's going to play kind of thing. And the numbers back that up.
Yeah. And I mean, that's always goes back to the same thing, which is that, but I would, if I'm the Chiefs, the long-term thing is I want Patrick Mahomes to play till he's 42. And if his ankles are busted up every year, at some point that feels like a challenge. I actually want him to play till he's 50, but I feel like 42 is a more reasonable ask.
Up next, though, let's talk more about this with Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider. We'll get the thoughts from him. What is he hearing about Patrick Mahomes? And Is DJ Humphries available Saturday? And if he is, does that mean Joe Thuney's automatically going back to left guard? That's coming up next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Give me the VIN.com salutes. Call to adventure. Orville and Wilbur Wright achieved the first successful sustained flight of an airplane on this day in 1903. Believe it or not, there were automobiles in production in 1903. Ford's Model A, the Oldsmobile Runabout, and the very first Cadillac, among others. And Gimme the VIN is your best bet if you've got a turn-of-the-century showpiece. Just go to gmtvcc.com. We are America's best car buyers.
Sell us your car. Give me the VIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Tune in this week to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti, where they break down all the headlines in the NFL. Presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on the iPhone 16 Pro.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Every piece of land has a story. The Upshaws write theirs with a John Deere 1 Series tractor they call Penny. And this is Shaw.
Shaw stands for skilled hands at work.
When he's not cutting grass, he's cutting hair.
So every person is different, from hair tight to head shape. And I feel like it's the same way in a yard.
From front loader to backhoe, the Upshaws have the tools to DIY all day long. Run with us on a 1 Series tractor and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
There are two kinds of guys out there: the hard-working, earn the victory guys, and the fake it till you make it guys. You know, the ones who build display cases for their participation trophies. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, and when those pretenders are out shopping for jewelry, they're probably shopping for lab diamonds, and that's sad because they've been sold a bill of goods, and no matter what anyone says, just like any pretender, you really can tell the difference between a lab diamond and a real natural diamond. So when she takes that lab diamond in for an appraisal and learns that you just gave her a participation trophy, well, that just might be the end of her participation. Seriously, We appraise jewelry from other stores all the time, and I've seen a lot of anger and a lot of tears. Guys, this Christmas season, I'm here for you. Earn the victory. If the love is real, she deserves a diamond that's real from a guy that's real. Come see me at House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
It's winter clearance time at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Get up to $5,000 off the 24 Jetta, 24 Taos, and 24 Tiguan, and up to $8,000 off the 24 Atlas and Atlas Crossport. Hurry in before we sell out of 24s. Visit VWLeeSummit.com.
Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
The college football playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. With the new 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever. TNT's coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st with SMU battling Penn State at noon Eastern. Then, Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Watch the college football playoff presented by Allstate on TNT and Max.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Texans game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
$11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Coming up at 11:45, Andy Reid going to speak to the media for the first time since, of course, the game over the weekend, and since maybe we got some more reports out there about Patrick Mahomes and his availability, including about the left tackle situation, DJ Humphries. All that's coming up at 11:40 right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. That's why Nate Taylor's joining us a little bit earlier today with the availability moved around a little bit. So Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from The Athletic, joins us thanks to Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes. Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. 816-221-1750. Nate, good to have you on the show, man. Appreciate you working with us on the schedule and everything. So I'll just start with a question on everybody's mind. What are you hearing? What's the latest here with Patrick Mahomes and the ankle? I could have just re-aired that question from 3 years ago and 2 years ago, I think.
Good morning, fellas. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, happy to adjust here. Look, I just want to remind everybody in my beloved hometown that we know the quarterback, right? We know who this man is. We have 8 years of evidence. He's going to try, guys. He really is. Like, he's maniacal in this sense, which is to be applauded and obviously respected. But he's going to try. He's going to try to practice. I reported that yesterday on theathletic.com. Now, again, I don't know if he's going to practice today, if this is going to be basically the rest period, which also I would understand why they would choose to do that, them being the Chiefs, because obviously when was the last time Carson Wentz had first-team reps? Let me tell you something, kids. It's been in August.
True.
So you could say, hey, let's try to reduce the swelling, the soreness as much as we can. Obviously, you're not going to get rid of the pain, but my belief is that Patrick is going to try to practice, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday, obviously heading into Saturday's game. And again, once again, everybody, this is Andy Reid. This is the oldest coach in the NFL, which means he does things by old school rules, which means if you don't practice, you don't play. Patrick knows that. And unless, I think the only experience we really had is that's similar to this if Patrick doesn't practice is, of course, in the 2021 postseason when he had the concussion against Cleveland. He had to go through each part of the concussion protocol to get ready to play against the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game. So that's one exception, but it hasn't been a lot of times where Andy's let you miss the entire week of practice and then allowed you to play in the game. So Patrick understands that. I don't think this is as bad as it was in 2022 in terms of, that postseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So there's a chance, but he's maniacal enough that he's probably going to practice, whether it's in some limited capacity, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday.
I just kind of go back to like that clip. Like anytime, like we just had Vinnie Pasquantino on. We asked him like if somebody tried to keep Bobby out of a game, and he was like, "Do you think he plays 161 because the coaching staff wants him to? Like, that's just not how it works." I go back to that clip when he was hurt and he had to be helped off the field, and he was yelling at Andy, "I'm good, I'm good," and he's like, "Go get an X-ray, and then we'll decide if you're good." Like Andy stood up to him in that moment, but Pat still got back in the game,
Yeah, exactly. And again, I don't think no one's told me it's as bad as it was in that postseason run in 2022. Again, I just want to remind everybody, he was so stiff the Wednesday before the AFC Championship game. So stiff. I thought, the man can barely walk. How's he going to play football? Guess what, kids? He played one of the most admirable, commendable AFC Championship games we have ever seen, and choosing the perfect time to use his legs to get in field goal range, obviously, before the end of regulation. Now, I understand why a lot of people are saying, okay, you have these two games in a 10-day window. If you want to give Patrick all 10 days, you should rest him because you do have essentially a one-game lead in the 1 seed, and then obviously you can roll him back out against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The reason why you would also do that, too, is there's a much better chance that DJ Humphries is available to play that game as well versus Saturday, right? He's like sort of the subplot to all of this week where, there was no chance he was playing against the Browns. There's a small chance he might play against the Texans. But again, based on what Joe Thuney did against the Browns, you could at least, use him as another gap starter for another week. But that might be one of the deciding factors too. Hey, not only is it about Patrick's individual health, it's also the health of his supposedly starting left tackle, who also got hurt in his first game this season after coming off an ACL. So if you want to give him another 10 days, you might time both of those players to be ready to go on Christmas Day against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's one theory I've heard that could lead, the team to say, hey, we need to see something from Carson Wentz. It's a reason why we obviously signed him in the offseason. And by the way, even if you play on Saturday, there's no guarantee you get DJ Humphries to be your left tackle as well.
I was going to ask you about Humphries because I think in the first half against the Browns, there was a lot of people that were saying, well, they found their left tackle solution. It's Joe Thuney, good to go. And then second half happened, and we're like, oh, wait, this is still maybe not the best thing in the world. So DJ Humphries, and you're what they're going to give him at least one other crack at this thing?
I think so. I think they're going to see how he does throughout the course of the week. That's one of the more difficult things is obviously hamstring injuries are nagging. And it's, by the way, kids, it's his left hamstring, which you kind of need that when you're trying to protect the edge against a edge rusher, whether that's Will Anderson or obviously TJ Watt if he's on the field on Christmas Day. They're going to see how he does throughout this week. There's obviously a chance he could play. I would give him maybe a greater percentage than Patrick Mahomes just because of the schedule nature of what this team is trying to do. But I also understand the fact that, hey, Joe Thuney is capable, but there's a reason, kids, why he's not a left tackle, okay? He doesn't have the greatest arm length. He's so technically sound, but I think in the second half, the Browns, whether it's Myles Garrett or just the whole coaching staff, figured out, okay, this is the way we can beat him. And so for a half, you got away with it because there was no tape of how Joe Thuney was going to look as the left tackle. That's why you sort of hide that secret as long as you can. But, these coaches are smart, and Myles Garrett is, the presumptive, defensive player of the year, and he just bull rushed the hell out of Joe Thuney. I don't know how much he can withstand that week after week. But what he did was admirable. So, again, you might see Saturday in the regular season home finale, Joe Thuney protecting, Carson Wentz just because you still have a lead in the race for the 1 seed. And depending on what Buffalo does,
you might need to win the last 2 games of the regular season, whether that's against, obviously, the Steelers on Christmas Day, and then you get sort of an extended period before you play, I would assume, the Denver Broncos on that Saturday before the Sunday slate if the Chiefs need to win to get the 1 seed. So if DJ Humphries can play, great, but the issue is, will he re-aggravate it? Will he tweak his hamstring again? Can he string games together, not just, hey, you played 3.5 quarters and you were okay. They need to see incremental progress, and the only way for that to happen is to ensure that he's going to get through Saturday's games he plays with a quick turnaround on Sunday. Again, one of the reasons why you might say, let's keep both of these guys on the shelf, because they need as much rest as possible if we have to win the last 2 games of the regular season.
Nate, I don't think the stat sheet tells the whole story on quarterback play often, especially sometimes this year with Mahomes, where I thought he played better than maybe it would indicate based on score or that, and he was kind of overcoming some of that. I did not think that about the last game. I thought this was the worst game he played all season. Do you agree? And I guess if you do, what went wrong?
That's interesting, because I understand what you're saying, Cody. I still don't think he played terrible. I mean, he had a couple touchdowns, no interceptions, although he did throw in the double covers to Justin Watson.
Yeah, when he had a wide open Worthy on that one, too.
Yes, but he's had misses all year, very similar to that in terms of his reads or, basically not even letting that part of the play be available to him based on his pre-snap reads and obviously his film study. I don't know if that was his worst game of the year. I think you can make an argument that against the Raiders was pretty bad because, the left tackle play and the fact that, he let his frustrations, sort of seep out, and he never found a way to sort of get himself balanced. I think he started the game against the Browns a lot better than they did against the Raiders. I know divisional games are a little bit more tricky because there's obviously the inherent history with one another. I don't feel like it was that bad, but at the same time too, every once in a while, Jawan Taylor's getting pushed into my lap. Okay, I have to speed up my clock because, Joe Thuney's back there. Mike Caliendo hadn't played all season. That's his first career start. So, I'm a little footwork's all over the place. Accuracy's a little up and down. I just want people to understand this. For as well as Josh Allen has played this season, there are stretches in just about every game this season where I thought Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback on God's green earth. And it's wild to say that because Josh Allen has been so freaking good, and even Lamar Jackson, against weaker competition, can do something similar. Patrick has still had a marvelous season when you put it into the context of the entire circumstances surrounding him. And you could almost argue it was bound to happen because he was taking on so much of a burden, both physically, mentally, and, hey, man, can you drag us across the finish line for another one-score game? I try to give a little bit of leniency on the fact that, not every game's going to be great. It was also very windy, very wet. The Browns are terrible. You don't have to bring your A game. You really don't. But the problem is he couldn't even get through the game because I thought the coaching staff did him a disservice more than his actual play was to be criticized more. I understand your question, Cody, and I understand the thought process, but the coaching staff put him out there on a 4th and 3 when there was no need to go forward on 4th and 3 with a 2-score lead when you can just punt the ball away.
Yeah, we talked about some of those, I thought, coaching blunders. That was one of them, just the idea of having a 2-touchdown lead and having 2 3-and-outs, not trying to run the football once. He challenged a play that was already replay assisted, if I'm not mistaken, which that makes no sense. You're challenging the people you need to challenge it, to overturn it again. You're so odd. And look, it's whenever we say that, there's always somebody on the text line that'll be like, he's going to be one of the greatest coaches of all time. Yes, that still applies, but it doesn't mean there aren't still mistakes. Nobody's saying he's not the best coach, and I would trade him with any other coach in football.
He had a bad day.
But it was not a good day at the office.
No. It's such a strange thing, and I know some people have sort of put this out there. They were so focused in, the first quarter. You could say even for the first half, right? It's unfortunate that coaching blunders leads to Harrison Butker screaming at his long snapper, "Where are you?" Then he misses the field goal. It compounds. But overall, from an offensive coaching standpoint, I thought, hey, that's a pretty clean first half. Patrick didn't get killed. They were wise to get the ball out on time, to use some misdirection, some creativity. Hey, they have a lead, which is what people have been asking for weeks. Like, hey, can you just get a 2-score lead and sort of salt the game away? And then I don't know what the hell happened after halftime, where it was almost like they just started getting greedy. When again, there's no need to get greedy when you know the moment you walked into that stadium, hey man, we have 3 games in 11 days. Like, we shouldn't put anything on film if we don't have to, because we have such a grind and a time crunch in terms to game plan for the next two opponents, by the way, going to be in the playoffs. And, this could be the first part of a rematch that, we need to figure out a way to sort of win, but also not get not show too much, or like, hey, why is Carson Steele's jersey clean? Why? Like, he's out there. He needs reps. Like, use him. It's one of the most baffling things I've seen of an Andy Reid coached, of a whole coaching organization. I won't really put the defense into this sort of realm, but the idea of like, okay, if you're going to bring Harrison Butker back, but he can't do kickoffs, huh?
Then don't bring him back. Yeah.
Why
don't bring him back?
Why do you? Yeah, we were going to talk about that. What do you think the thought process was there? We know what kind of kicker he is when he's healthy, but Matthew Wright was doing fine filling in. If he needed another week to be able to kick off, or if you think the miss was just because of the guys running on the field late, maybe that's fine. Otherwise, Lawrence Tynes, former Chiefs kicker, obviously everybody knows who he is. He was on Twitter saying that Butker is still doing something that's not sustainable, which is what he's doing with his plant leg, the knee drop. Yeah.
Yes. The knee drop, which, if you look at film earlier this year, he wasn't doing it nearly as often as he did it previous to the injury, or previous to him needing surgery. Yeah, I think a little bit of it is the just misbungling of the operation in terms of getting out there. But they understand that, hey, if we can give Harrison Butker 4 games, then he will sort of get back in rhythm. He'll get locked in. He'll be ready to go for the postseason. Okay, that's fine. I kind of understand that from a big picture standpoint. But also, Matthew Wright hasn't missed a kick all time since he was here. And, yes, you can say, like, kicking in Cleveland is not easy. I mean, it's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. A lot of kickers miss, especially in the second half of the season. But you're the better team. Like, it shouldn't – it really shouldn't come down to it if you're handling your business. And, of course, Jameis Winston is Jameis Winston. So I thought that was perplexing. It's good reps for Justin Reed in terms of the kickoff, because you might use that element in a playoff game, of course, against a pretty good return team. But some of the decisions the coaching staff made or were allowed to make were easily criticizable. Like, you could easily criticize them for saying, hey, you shouldn't be passing the ball this often when your quarterback's already dealt with an ankle injury before, and now he's as healthy as you could possibly be. But again, 3 games in 11 days. Hey, maybe we shouldn't have Chris Jones take 1 million snaps. By the way, 3 games in 11 days. Hey, maybe we shouldn't have Harrison Butker. We don't need him right now. We literally don't need him. He's coming off of a knee surgery, okay? Not a minor thing. We don't need him right now, but I mean, I guess if I know he's the highest paid kicker, but like, we just got to put him back out there. I guess there's been a disconnect. There's been a disconnect for the last couple. I would say there's been a disconnect for the last month in terms of like what could and should have been done versus what the team has chosen to do to get wins. And congratulations, you've won a lot of these games, but you are seeing the cumulative effect and the burden and the grind as you're trying to get the 1 seed, and now your quarterback's in jeopardy.
Yeah, what doesn't make sense is they've usually been the opposite. Like, the thing I warned the audience of, Nate, is like, hey, if you think a guy's coming back Saturday, try a Saturday from now or the Saturday after that, and then you'll probably get their realistic timeline. And for some reason, they rushed Butker back, which made just no sense to me after watching him kick. Speaking of one person who I don't think is being rushed back, but I might as well ask, we all assume the announcement of Clyde Edwards-Helaire being released by the team yesterday is because Hollywood Brown's coming back. He playing on Saturday?
That's one possibility. The other one, too, is, and I wondered about this yesterday once the news came out, Dave Merritt's got to be. I mean, got to be like. Does Dave Merritt still have hair on the top of his head?
I don't know, man. I'd be losing it.
He's got to be losing it.
You think they're activating Steven Nelson or something?
So that's a possibility, right? Like, hey, kid. Like, by the way, this is the same thing they did to DJ Humphries. They might do to Steven Nelson. Hey, congratulations. Great to have you a part of the team. Hey, man, just hang out this week. Just grasp everything. Get your head in the playbook. You know, you're a veteran. You've been through this. Next week. Yeah, remember everything I just said? Scrap all that. Get ready to play. Because, God, we need you. And I just wonder, again, against better competition, that they were like, all right, we're going to start Joshua Williams. He'll be fine. Get Najee in there. Chris Rowland Wallace. I'm just like, guys, like, what are we doing? So, yes, Hollywood Brown will probably play, I would think, on Christmas Day more so than Saturday. But, hey, you never know. Maybe it's another just element to throw out there for Carson Wentz if Carson Wentz is the starter. But I also think, too, that, like, hey, can we get Steven Nelson 3 games? Can he hold up? Can he give us anything that is, like, semblance of competence? Or, like, hey, he won't make a major mistake, you know, whereas there's just a lot more variance of, like, Joshua Williams, really good play. Joshua Williams. What was that? You know, and it's like, Najee Johnson, hey, nice play on 4th down. Najee Johnson, can you not shed a block, son? You know, it's like they just have such a roller coaster ride at cornerback, too. I also thought about that as well, as to, like, as
with Connor, too, right? I mean, there's no way Connor's playing Saturday. Yeah. He didn't know where the hell he was at.
Correct. Yeah, Connor's in the concussion protocol. Statistically, you have less than a 50% chance on a short week when you have a concussion on game day. So
I'll say I love Jaden Hicks' play, so that's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he needs the experience, and I understand that. But, of course, you're down one body without anybody that you've replaced so far, i.e. Can Steven Nelson play on the outside to where Trent McDuffie can go back to his natural position, which I don't know, guys, but, like, when Shamari Connor got hurt, unfortunately, hey, Trent, go back in that slot or go back to being the versatile cornerback, outside, inside, and man, he played really well. He's the highest graded player in Pro Football Focus's evaluation of Sunday's game. So, you know, if Steven Nelson's on the field or at least available, that can give you another player to put on the perimeter. To whereas, hey, Nico Collins or whoever's in the slot for the Texans, you could put Trent McDuffie and feel pretty good about that matchup.
All right, Nate, we'll let you go, man. I know you got some press conference and media availability coming up. We'll hear from Andy Reid at 11:45. We'll check in next week. Thanks.
Yeah, man. Anytime. And just by the way, I just want to tell the audience, if you think Andy Reid is telling us anything that's...
Why would you say that? We're trying to get him to listen to this. Andy's going to say everything.
Hey, please, I'm going to try to do my job, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to listen. Obviously, I love 96 Times, but also...
He's going to put the X-ray up on the screen and give point by point about what's going on with the ankle.
Yeah, if you think Andy Reid's going to be like, sure, I know exactly what we're doing. Oh, boy, that would be a new one.
Yeah, it would be. There you go. That's Nate Taylor from The Athletic. He is presented by Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes. Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. 816-221-1750. Yeah, could you imagine?
We're trying to have a well-rated midday show.
That's right.
Here,
Coming up
know?
at 11:45, Andy Reid will tell us the exact plan that they have for the entire week with Patrick Mahomes, when he'll practice, what he won't practice,
who the second shooter was on the grassy knoll. He has all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
All of that's coming up at 11:45 today on Cody and Gold.
And probably say they're just getting in.
You know, we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, it's sore. We'll see.
Patrick's going to have his ankle wrapped 4 times.
You know, it's sore. Right. We'll see. You know, the training he's working with.
He's got some new cleats
treatment
from Adidas.
Like all these guys, you know, it's late in the season. Everybody's banged up, and he's getting treatment. Anyway, all right.
I want to learn something about Hollywood or DJ, but, you know, we'll see.
Let's get to a quick trash of the day. Trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right. Trash of the day takes us to a story out of Denver. Now, it has to do with a gentleman that's from Virginia, but...
I expect Colorado ones.
It's sad, but it's a sad story. I hesitated at first, but then we found out more details, and it's like, all right, here. This is trash of the day worthy. Unfortunately, someone did lose their life. That's why I was hesitant.
We don't usually do death ones.
We don't.
Not zero.
So there was a group of individuals hunting a bear. Okay, group of 5 people hunting a bear. The Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources. So I don't know why the
Are
article
you allowed
is from
to hunt a bear?
But the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources suggested that a group of hunters chased a bear into a tree. Okay?
Well, that seems like a bad decision.
Then, as the group retreated from the bottom of the tree, one of the hunters shot the bear. Okay? When this happened, the bear fell on a 58-year-old man while he was standing 10 feet from the bottom of the tree. Unfortunately, he passed away at the hospital later on that day.
Okay. First, are you allowed to hunt bears?
I think so.
Really? That doesn't feel like something you're allowed to hunt. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I guess it kind of depends.
I have no
on the
idea.
population.
Be honest, dude, I have no clue. Okay, I have no clue.
Either way, seems like
I don't know if you are allowed to or not. Maybe the answer is obviously no. All I know is the story says. Someone will text in and tell us because I have no. You and I are definitely the hunting type. But basically, there's a group of hunters chased this bear into a tree. So I don't know why they shot at the bear. Now, were they intentionally missing the bear? It says they shot the bear, not shot at. It says they shot the bear, which caused the bear to fall out of the tree.
Sometimes, so like I told you, like if I die, I kind of want to die in a funny way. Because like the idea goal that like every day someone's like, hey, what happened to your co-host Cody? Every day you'd have to tell somebody that I died because a bear fell on top of me. Is the most ludicrous way
I almost
to have to
wanna
tell people that every time. It's crazy.
At first, I was hesitant to do this for trash of the day.
Chase a bear into a tree and shoot it.
Because somebody had died. But then, like, you know, the fact that you died because you guys chased a bear into a tree and then shot him and he landed on you, there's an element to that that's very worthy of trash of the day. Someone says, yes, it's legal if it's in season. Bear hunting season in Missouri as well. Okay, there you go. Boom.
There's bear hunting season? Man, I had no idea.
You want to go hunting?
No, I've never been hunting, but I also don't want to. Look, I'll just be honest. A deer's probably not going to wreck me up. I screw up something.
The bear?
Hunting a bear, that feels like it goes poorly for me. Like, maybe not falling out of a tree and killing me, but, like, feels like mauling is
There
on
is
the
a little
table.
bit of F around and find out going on here. I'm with you.
Yeah. I honestly think you're taking your own risk. Turns out animals can hunt you back.
Well,
You know?
this bear didn't
So,
even
like,
hunt him
you
back.
think-
The
this-
bear fell out of the tree. You were standing under the
I know,
tree.
but this is like the same thing. This is like surviving the game. You hunt a man, they might hunt you back. You chase a bear, it might kill you. I don't know what to tell you.
Do we know what bear it was?
That's a risk you took.
Like brown bear, black bear?
That is the trash of the day.
Someone also says shooting, apparently in the hunting community, shooting a treed animal is kind of like
Yeah.
bad energy.
All of a sudden, I can't hear you on my headphones, so I don't know what you're saying.
You can't hear me?
Nope. Someone with my headphones. These are brand new headphones. I don't know what's going on, but I can't hear you at all. Up
Can you
next,
hear yourself?
Well, no. Up next, I think there's music playing. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know if Drew said something. He's
It
probably
faded
saying
out.
we're late for break. Is probably what he's telling me.
Fade it out.
Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. We're going to hear from Andy Reid at 11:45. Plus, let's talk more about what Travis Kelce is doing and what does it tell us about his future.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, it's the holidays, a time of love and joy. But if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, the season can be tough on you. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you and your partner are experiencing struggles because of ED, change it up this year. Give the best gift you can give to the one you love by treating your ED and restoring your relationship. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts at treating ED. And as a Promenic restorative health practice, we've literally seen countless thousands of relationships renewed across the nation. Plus, with treatments having success rates well over 90%, coupled with many treatment options, we can likely find the right one for you. You may even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us and give your partner the best gift you can give this season. A renewed, restored relationship. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning diamond pendant, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect gemstone piece or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's better over here. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has an exclusive rate plan just for you. Right now, get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Plus, you can get one of the latest 5G phones free when you add a line. That's right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest, we believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Coming up in 10 minutes, we're expected to hear from Andy Reid right here on your home for the Chiefs. 96.5 The Fan.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we were talking still about the bear story during the break. My legit question, as someone that doesn't go hunting, these people that were trying to hunt the bear, and those of you that maybe have hunted a bear before, like, I get if you kill a turkey or whatever, it's easy to like pick up and take it back with you. What do you do once you kill the bear? How do you transport the bear? You're not just, well, let me just.
Do you just like
field
dress it and cut it up there? I don't really know how it
Honestly,
works.
legit question. What do you do? Do you have a gator with you and you just throw it on the back? I mean, honestly, I legit don't know. I'm fascinated by this.
Does it come with a winch and a hoist to get the thing
You
up
just
there?
drag the bear.
Everybody take an arm? I don't,
I just picture it.
Taking
I
a
have
winch
no
up to the
idea.
middle of the
Take a
woods.
I don't know, man. Alex was asking a serious question. Between that, I can't believe the other thing I can't believe the show hasn't talked about yet is the drones in New Jersey.
We
Whether
did
or not-
briefly. We didn't get into it deep, but that was my. I said I almost picked it as a trash of the day on Monday.
Yeah.
Or on
So you think it's
last
aliens
Friday.
or no?
Friday or Monday?
Come on, Drew. Is it aliens?
It's not aliens.
No.
Is it a government conspiracy?
Yeah,
It's government related. Yes, I think it has to do with our military in some fashion. Yes.
As in, because they said it's not a foreign government, which pretty much is just saying it's our government.
Yeah,
In my
exactly.
No, I think it's something we're operating.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I would say. Yeah.
A lot of question marks around that, obviously.
Someone says, "Oh, here you go. Here's our answer. You skin it, quarter on site. Field dress, skin the pelt, quarter it out, carry it out.
Okay, so I had it right. Someone says, if you
How long does that process take? It's got to be a.
Everybody grab a leg." Someone says.
Or but I guess, so did you just leave the rest of the guts out there?
Well, yeah.
Some other, nature. Some other animal come and get it.
Sure.
You know.
It's
nature. Seriously, yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever been hunting in your life? I've never been hunting.
Hunting, no. No.
I've been fishing once.
No, never been
We're
hunting.
not exactly manly men, are we?
No, I've been out on somebody's farm before, and they, and shot shotgun or whatever a few times. That's it. But
I've never been hunting or.
But as far as
fishing.
like actual hunting, no.
Have you fished?
Once.
I have fished one time.
I have done neither of them.
Maybe twice. I fished twice.
Look, we don't claim to be the great outdoors show here. That's not our claim.
I've never actually held an actual gun before, either.
Someone says coyotes need to eat too. They could have been teaming up on that bear, but you took it first.
That's why you got to. As soon as you do your business, you got to get the hell out of there. So then those animals can.
Someone says,
let's just take your phone calls. Your conspiracies on the drone. 913-586-7965.
I think a fun 20 minutes.
We don't have time for that. We don't have time.
I hate the conspiracy that is they're looking for a missing nuclear weapon underneath, and they don't want to tell you that it's missing, so they're looking for it. I kind of want to believe it's aliens because it's way more fun, and pretty much every single person who's worked for the government over the last 2 years has talked in front of Congress and be like, yeah, we got all kinds of stuff, and they won't tell you any of it.
You think if it was aliens, we just let them continue each night to continue to do this? No.
What we're going to bomb them out of existence underneath the ocean?
If they were actually aliens, there's no way to just let them
that.
continue to be chilling above New Jersey constantly. I think it's us.
So somebody said we need Xavier Leggette's help.
That's right. Raccoon. I was reading a quote. Not that we'll get to Chiefs in a second, or we're getting off topic. But thinking of the raccoon audio we played you, Xavier Legette talking about eating squirrel or raccoon. Jerry Jones was on our sister station down in Dallas as he does his weekly interview. They asked him if he's ever had raccoon before. He said, "Quote, this is the owner of the Cowboys. Quote, I've eaten a lot of raccoon. The answer is yes. It's not uncommon at all. One of my favorites is squirrel. It's wonderful. We all had our favorite pieces. My mom and I would even ask for the brain of the squirrel. Delicious. Seriously.
Apparently, squirrel brains are really good, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Duck Dynasty.
Yeah. People are inviting us out in the country to go hunting with them.
Somebody's
Cody and Gold hunting trip. Could you imagine?
That's a new one. Somebody was like, you'll go to a house with no like power or electricity, but not fish or hunt. I don't know the rules. I've fished at the lake nearby there, so that's where I fished a couple of times. It's a national forest. Am I allowed to I have to get like a license. I'm going to get a license. I don't own a gun or like a bow and arrow.
Somebody called us city
Oh,
slickers.
bow and arrow.
People hunt.
I
There are
know.
people who are bow hunters.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Somebody called us city slickers. Is that Phil Robertson?
No, as I said, they're
texting?
inviting us out.
city slickers.
Invite us out to the country.
Cody and Gold hunting trip?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. You know, part of it's unappealing. It's like all these people who hunt, they're
Dusty
like,
just texted me
well,
and
we
said he
got out
goes
at
hunting
4.
every Friday night, Cody. That's what Dusty
That's
just
different.
texted. That's what Dusty just texted.
Different kind of hunting. But it's like the idea of, hey, it's 4 a.m. Let's go sit in a tree for 7 hours in the cold. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah. I know you guys listening are absolutely stunned today. Stunned to learn that this show maybe not the outdoorsman. I know you guys are shocked. I'm glad we can shock you occasionally and surprise you with things. Coming up in about 5 minutes, we're going to hear from Andy Reid. But I want to talk about Travis Kelce for a second because this year the underappreciated player probably is Noah Gray. And this entire scheme, grand scheme of things, he leads the Chiefs in receiving touchdowns. Noah Gray.
It's making the transition away from Travis Kelce maybe a slight bit easier overall because we know that eventually that's going to happen, whether it be the end of this year, like a lot of people think, or the end of next year, like anybody else would think, right? I don't think anybody has it beyond this and next year for him. Travis Kelce only has 2 receiving touchdowns. He's got 709 yards. So he's going to come up short of 1,000 again for the second consecutive year. And this time he will do it with way fewer games. Matter of fact, it's going to be a sweat. If you just had if you got it at 850, it's going to be a big sweat. I got it at 808, maybe a little bit of 805, maybe a little bit of a sweat. Noah Gray has proven enough to me that at this point, like, the ability to get in the end zone is probably the strongest argument for. Like, he has, and I think you're probably right. If you made me rank the most underrated player on offense this year, it's probably Noah Gray. It's probably Noah Gray. What would he do with all those targets is the question now. He has 420 yards and leads the team in receiving touchdowns. That's only 280 yards off of Travis Kelce's, and I got to imagine I could look it up, but I got to imagine the targets are half, a third. Like, I wouldn't say this about Travis Kelce because he's the Hall of Famer, so I don't think that's actually true. But I think you could have an argument that said, if you gave Noah Gray the same number of targets this year as Travis Kelce, would he have more yards? I don't think it's an unfair argument. I would say no, Travis Kelce would still have more because he gets to live off of Travis Kelce or off of DeAndre Hopkins.
It's very clear
he doesn't
that
have to be the focus of everyone's attention.
And we know Kelce still gets plenty of attention from defenders. But I think if we've watched these games this year, there's clearly a difference in play and where Kelce's at this year than what he has maybe in the past. Now, if we're saying that there's this drop-off, he's still pacing for, what did you say, 800 and...
He's got 709 yards. He's probably pacing for around 850.
So if that's quote-unquote a bad year, it still puts in perspective how amazing a player, if we're saying, oh my gosh, what has happened?
But he's got 115 targets to Noah Gray's 46, and he's only 280 yards ahead of him.
But I will say with Noah Gray, the fact they got a contract extension done before the season, that's one. If this ends up being the last year for Kelce, we'll find out if it is. But if it does, that contract for Noah Gray is going to look a heck of a lot better. Because we said it doesn't take much to be a top 10 tight end receiving yard-wise in the NFL. Noah Gray's doesn't have to have a ridiculous jump to yardage-wise, be a top 10 tight end in this league. And they were able to sign Noah Gray to a contract before the season, and that might end up being a really financially beneficial thing for them if this is actually the last year for Travis.
And that's it. Like, part of me thinks that, like, he said he wanted to go out on top, and finishing with, I think it's like 860 yards or whatever he's pacing for. Finishing with 860 yards, that doesn't feel like going out on top for Travis Kelce. Like he said in his podcast on New Heights that he wanted to not just be playing or physically be on a field, but to be Travis Kelce. He wants to be what he's been this entire career. When he had 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons, when the career NFL record for a tight end was 3, he buried it. And again, it could have been 9. It could have been last year, 7 straight. It could have been another one last year. He made a decision not to go for the 1,000 even straight. But now it's just coming down. His yards per reception are down. This is the lowest yards per game in his career since 2017. But it's also like, or ever, I guess, sorry. And so when you start looking at it, you're just like, is he going to be able to look at the end of the season and say, I'm the same player? Versus now if you're the Chiefs, if he wants to walk, at least you've got some viable tight end play in Noah Gray.
That part's true. I think it'll be the playoffs will tell the story again. Because we do know last year the discussion around him, and then the playoffs he looked like Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce. So what does that bye week do for him? So more reason why the number 1 seed's important. Whether it's not having a chance at the 1 seed, so they sit him in week 18, or it's that they have the number 1 seed and he gets to sit out wild card weekend. That's what I want to see again. Because last year we know what the week 17 game off was for week 18 game or week 17. Sorry, I'm so confused with the weeks in the NFL these days. But you get what I'm saying. Week 18, what that game did for him by not playing, by passing up the record, he ended up playing at a Hall of Fame level in the postseason.
What's crazy is you would think because of that, because he's older and the production's been taking a dip down a little bit, that they would be reducing his. Reducing a little bit his snaps? No. His and Chris Jones, they seem like they're going up. They're playing them almost more than they're playing them less, which makes no sense. And you're right. The postseason is where he could still be maybe I didn't have quite the regular season I wanted last year either. But in the postseason, I was Travis Kelce again. As a reminder, this is what he finished with in the 4 postseason games. 7 for 71. 5 for 75 and 2 touchdowns, 11 for 116 and a score, and 9 for 93 in the Super Bowl. I mean, he has 1,900 career receiving yardage in the postseason and 19 touchdowns. He's a Hall of Fame player if he just only played in the regular season.
Sure.
But damn, his postseason stats put him on a completely different level. And so
let me ask you right now,
as things sit,
without any new information, but just December 17th, knowing what we've seen from this team, not knowing if they're going to go to the Super Bowl or not, do you think, where are you at now percentage-wise that Kelsey's back? Because I think before the season you were definitive
Yeah, before I didn't think he was going to retire. Now I think he's 50-50.
Yeah, I lean almost more 60-40 the other way now.
Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 chance he retires. In a lot of ways, I feel like if they win the Super Bowl, he will go. Because that will be the easiest exit in NFL history. You're an older player. You're coming off a career worst year statistically, although I would say that some of that is just the offense.
No doubt.
Right? I don't think that's just him. The offense isn't nearly as good as the worst offense they've had.
He was open against, a few times against Cleveland, and the ball was overthrown. I mean, so he still gets open at times. Yes. So it's not like he's not getting open. But
no, and I don't think his play is dramatically dipped in any facet, but the numbers are starting to go down, and you have to start looking at that. And if he has 3 Super Bowls in a row, and a lovely girlfriend who goes on world I think it'd be the easiest retirement in the history. If you were in the exact same situation, you'd be like, well, I'll see y'all later.
Yeah, see, I think that's the issue.
That'd be the
it's
easiest,
not
tip of the cap, dip out of the league of all time.
So I think easy in terms of going out on top or whatever. I'm just saying, I bet you it's got to be one of the toughest decisions he's ever gonna have to make. This is we talk about all these times.
Hard.
Yeah, I mean. It helps when you have a brother that's already gone through it now, and Jason, and you can get advice from him. And obviously, Jason decided to go the TV path. There will be plenty of other things, whether it's for football or not, for Travis, if that, in fact, is the case. We're, again, waiting Andy Reid. We also think we might hear from Carson Wentz. Typically, the quarterback will speak. Obviously, Mahomes is probably dealing with his rehab and stuff this week. But Carson Wentz could end up speaking. Doesn't mean he's for sure starting on Saturday, but it could be him.
Okay, so what's your stance on you think it's a government conspiracy?
Oh, God.
On the drones?
I thought you were going back to the hunting, because the people made a good point. They're like, you could not go hunting with Cody. You couldn't be on the Cody Gold hunting trip. You have to be quiet and not talk for long periods of time.
So what do you guys do? You just stare at each other? How do you fill the space in your mind? Are you allowed to whisper to each other? What I'm asking is stop looking at me like I'm crazy. This is a serious question.
So you're saying,
what do you do to fill the mental time? Because I've already discussed this, that I don't like silence on this show. How do you feel it? That's what I'm asking.
Would you be able to whisper? If you, because you certainly can't talk. Would you be able to whisper, Cody? Everybody's whispering.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if that's what we're doing, sure. I've had little kids asleep. When they're toddlers.
We also be screwed because you're supposed to be really quiet when you move. You'd be dragging your super bone foot behind you and be making tons of noise through the leaves. So we'd be screwed.
That's why you set up a blind.
across the board.
You appreciate nature, Cody. You sit back
not
and
a quiet
you
person.
Breathe in that fresh air out there. It's nature and God's country. You know, that's what it is,
If
Cody.
we're moving, I like being out of nature. Like, I don't mind going for a hike or climbing things, but like, I got to be moving, active, doing something.
All right, here's
Just
Andy.
sitting there seems like a problem.
Here's Andy Reid.
We'll see how it works out for him. And if he can't work, then Carson will take those reps that Pat doesn't. So we have full confidence in Carson. If he has to step in and play, then I think everybody, coaches and players, have full confidence that he can go in and do a nice job. Look for the challenge of playing the Texans. We know they're a heck of a football team, and they're working on that whole playoff thing. And D'Amico's done a nice job with that team, along with his coordinators. They likewise have put together a real strong offense and defense. Special teams, one of the top in the league. So, very well-rounded football team. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Coach, do you have a hard and fast rule on, you got to practice this much to be able to play, that you kind of set out there so it's not, you're not leaning one way on what you want it to be at the time?
Yeah, I think this one's a little bit more day-to-day. Let's just see what he does, how he does, feels. He's always honest with me, so he's going to shoot me straight on it. And I'll be able to see him. Today's a lighter day, so we can get him in there and moving around a little bit. So.
Andy, to that point about he'll always be honest with you. Obviously, he also wants to play. How do you break down that conversation to try to really get at where he is?
Yeah, he'll talk to me. The doctors will talk to me. Trainers, keep it open. Once you're out of the game, he'll shoot you pretty straight there. So it's during the game his juices are growing.
Andy, obviously it's 3 games in 11 days. You've got one game 4 days later. How, if at all, would that factor in your decision to play Patrick on Saturday?
Yeah, listen, if he can go, he'll go. If he can't, then he can't. I mean, keep it that simple. We're not, that's how we'll roll with it. So, and then I'll just take it day by day and see how he does here.
But at this point, there is a chance that he could go. He's not being ruled out.
Oh, there's a chance. Yeah, we'll see.
Does it factor in? I mean, you're in a position now where you know that 2 wins and you get the number 1 spot. Does that affect your judgment at all?
No, not necessarily. I mean, the games count. So I mean, it's a game, and in the NFL, and it counts. And if your guys can play, they play. I mean, as long as it's medically, if they're fine, they go.
What did you learned about Carson in your time here with him? What do you like about him if he has to play a lot for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's started in the league and been successful. He's got a great feel for this offense. Very smart, big arm. I mean, I like the way he carries himself. I like everything about him. He should be starting in this league somewhere, So he's a heck of a player.
Andy, what's the plan this week for Hollywood and for Steve Nelson?
Yeah, so again, just seeing them, how they're doing it every day here. Stevie will probably need a little bit more time than maybe what Hollywood will need. Just let's take it day by day with those guys and see where this thing goes. We've released Clyde, so we have a spot available. We've got these injuries that we're juggling here, so we just got to see how that goes before we move somebody up or down or whatever Veach wants to do with that thing. But we sure appreciated Clyde too for all he did here. Love to get him back sometime too. So I mean, what a great kid he is.
Andy, you mentioned this last time we talked to you on Friday was Hollywood had just practiced. How did he come out of that as far as what you saw you wanted to see?
I mean, he felt good. I mean, he felt good, moved around well, took quite a few reps. It wasn't a leg injury, so he's been working his legs. he's one of those real good endurance guys anyways, and but he's been working his legs throughout here. You know, it's just a matter of this whole thing and how it feels when he's going. But the doctors have really said it's healed up nice and looks good. So we'll just see. I'm gonna do just like you are. I'm gonna play it by ear and see how we do here. And if he can go, he'll play. If he can't, then he won't. You know.
Andy, he's been through, Patrick specifically, has been through obviously multiple ankle injuries. I know you would not want your quarterback to get hurt, but the sport is violent. Is there experience that you could use based on him playing through these injuries multiple times that can either help with the game plan or just give you better trust in like how he's going to play if his mobility is obviously limited?
Yeah, so you know, you don't want it so limited that he can't get out of the way of things. I mean, but again, he knows, he's had enough of these where he knows kind of where he's at, and he's able to communicate that. So I listen to it, and our docs check him. Rick, he was living with Rick and his crew yesterday, so and he'll do the same today. I mean, that's how he rolls. You know, he likes to play, so I mean, but he's honest with it too.
Coach, in your study, how did you feel like Joe Tooney did out at left tackle? And if Humphreys is out of the mix, will you stick with Tooney?
Yeah, I'm weighing that, but I thought he did a nice job to answer your original question there. The guy he was going against is one of the best in the league, and he held his own. He had a few where he got caught off balance, but I thought he battled his tail off and really, for just throwing him out there, did a nice job. He's got, you know, when you think about this now, he's played every position and done well, and a pretty amazing guy that way.
In the last few, Sarin, Jeremy, and Sam. What's Sarin?
Coach, I know you like to, you know, you're going to design a game plan for the skill sets of the guys you have, and Carson and Pat are going to be a little bit different, and then you like to talk to them and what do they like. Does it put more stress on you and Matt and the staff to kind of maybe have two game plans, you know, when you're here not knowing?
Yes, I'll tell you, one of the things, those two guys are very similar in what they like, which helps. I mean, that
You're listening to Andy Reid here on KFNZ FM AM HD1 HD2 Kansas City in Odyssey Station. You heard from Andy mention Patrick Mahomes is going to give it a go today at practice.
they're good with it. So, you know, there's no more stress than you normally have. You know, it's not a stressful deal. I mean, I'm not trying to meet deadlines. So.
Andy, with your offensive experience, how do you try to help a quarterback like in Carson's case who's had success and then now has to sort of reset their career as a backup and try to get their footing again?
Yeah, well, I love the way he goes about his business. And, you know, when you listen to the court, when you listen to Pat, you go, well, why isn't this guy starting somewhere? You know, that's the conversations you hear with guys that are in that room and coaches and players. And so, you know, I'm hoping that he gets to keep going selfishly. I'd like to keep him here, you know, in his position. But I kind of know what's going on out there with quarterbacks, and this guy is, I think, really good. So.
I think Sam's got his already, so we're good.
Okay, good.
All right, so that was Andy Reid here on 96.5 The Fan. The big news out of that was that Patrick Mahomes will try to give it a go with that ankle injury. Also said that as expected, Shamari Connor out of practice, with a concussion, and then DJ Humphreys will not practice, still dealing with the hamstring injury. We're going to react a little bit more to what he also said about how he's going to handle this week. Plus, we're going to hear from Carson Wentz. That's all coming up next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Winter weather here, which means you might need work on your roof. A little done, right? Before the winter season hits, you can do the same thing, and you want to work with a local company that's been handling roofs for 34 years in town. That's Century Roofing. They're going to be donating a portion of their proceeds on all roof replacement and repair jobs booked by the end of the year, so you don't have much longer to book them, to Operation Breakthrough. They want to do great things in the city because they've been doing great things in the city by working through those things. I had hail come through my house and I wanted it checked out. If you had hail come through in the summer, some of that East Side, Blue Springs, Independence area, you can look. If your neighbor's got a new roof sometime, odds are you're probably eligible at one point. Or if you're just thinking the next time hail hits, I want to make sure I got a great roofing company on call. Century Roofing will take care of those needs. Voted best of Johnson County 3 years in a row. Like I said, 34 years in town, which means you're going to want to contact Century prior to filing a claim so experts can confirm if enough damage exists. Trust a company who's been doing it in Kansas City for 34 years and schedule your estimate today. From KC Basin Female Loans, Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to centuryroofingkc.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Christmas is just around the corner. And if you're wondering what gifts to give friends and family, no worries. Gates Barbecue is here to help. Gates gift packs and combo packs are tasty gifts for the barbecue lover on your list. And Gates gift cards and logo apparel are perfect stocking stuffers, or if you're exchanging gifts at the office or you have family out of town. Visit their website, gatesbbq.com, and ship right to their front door. Remember, buy Gates. It's a Kansas City tradition.
With us is Dr. Christian Hettinger with KCUC, Kansas City Urology Care. What makes KCUC the best?
Hands down, that's our physicians and our experience. We have combined hundreds of years of experience amongst our over 50 providers, radiation oncologists, medical oncologists, and urologists, often practicing under the same roof, who can provide the best integrated care to our patients. We've recruited surgeons from the Mayo Clinic, Harvard, Stanford, UCLA, and many of the other best institutions providing care in kidney, prostate, and bladder cancer. We often can provide our patients care from diagnosis to treatment to labs to scans to medications, all under one roof, all in an office setting as opposed to a hospital. We've assembled all of these physicians that are close to all different parts of Kansas City.
See the experts at Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit kcuc.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. That's right, now's your last chance to trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Only at Verizon. Service plan required for watch and tablet. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
Good morning, beat freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Noon hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We're going to hear from Patrick Mahomes in just a second. They moved around the schedule a little bit today, and there was no word earlier today on who was actually going to speak after Andy Reid. We know it's Mahomes and Carson Wentz, so we'll hear from Mahomes in just a second. I think as far as Andy Reid and what he had to say, once again, Mahomes going to give it a go today at practice. No DJ Humphries at practice. Based on what Andy said, I mean, it goes back to what a lot of former players have been saying this week too, which is if Patrick Mahomes gets cleared by the doctors and he's good to go, he's going to go. He's going to play on Saturday.
After Mahomes, and we'll hear from him in just a minute, but after just Andy Reid spoke, the line already moved to half a point.
Yeah, the Chiefs line is moving as the Chiefs are talking to the media, because if you're listening to what Andy had to say and then here in a second you're going to hear from Mahomes, it's hard not to think that he's playing.
Well, and I think that the way Andy's talking, it's the same thing. Like he said, he's the kind of guy who wants to play, and he never once said, and I'll make sure he stays safe. It's pretty much like, dude, if he says he can play, it doesn't sound like Andy will stand in his way.
6 ankle injuries in his career, and he's never missed a game due to one.
Correct.
Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes on 96.5 The Fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's done good with the treatment and the work that we've gotten in. I mean, obviously it's a short amount of time, but I thought we had a good day yesterday, and we had good work after the game as well.
Obviously, it's a shorter week than normal. Is it your intention to try and push to play on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to. That's the reason you play this game is to push to play. So I'll get to work at practice and try to push it to see where I can get to. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to put our team in a bad position. So if I feel like I can play and go out there and win a football game, I'll play. And if I don't feel like that's the best case scenario, I'll let guys like Carson play. I mean, he's a guy that's won in this league as well. So it's just about pushing it this week, seeing where I'm at, and making the best decision then.
And I think you feel pretty confident you can be honest with yourself about that range? Like, it won't make yourself more vulnerable, that you can do the things you need to do? I mean, is that something that will come to you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, we've put ourselves in good position to where I guess I wouldn't say it was dire that I play. I mean, it's something where it's not like in the AFC Championship game where we're playing to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, we have a little bit of room to kind of spare, but at the end of the day, we're trying to win. We're trying to win the football game, and I'm a competitor. I want to go out there and play. So I'll push myself to get to the best place possible over these next few days, and we'll be able to make a decision then.
How does it feel compared to the Jacksonville injury? Similar?
Jacksonville was worse. I would say. I mean, that one was pretty significant. I mean, this one didn't feel good by any means. But the Jacksonville one, just the way I got caught, I didn't really get this last one. I kind of got my feet out at the very end, whereas that Jacksonville one I didn't really get to. Obviously, it's responded better, quicker. I think that'd be the best thing to say. But I want to be in a better spot than I was in that next game going up against the Bengals. So I'll try to see if I can get there.
When you're evaluating your own body. What types of things do you need to feel to say to yourself, okay, I'm good to go for, what would be Saturday?
Yeah, I want to be able to move. I want to be able to get out of the way. I mean, this is a good pass rush, a good defense. They're fly around. You don't want to go out there and put yourself in harm's way. I mean, obviously it's football. You're going to take hits, but you want to be able to protect yourself. So that'll be where I'm at, and I don't want to limit the game plan. I think that's another thing for me is I want to be able to still be able to move around the pockets, so we're not just sitting in one spot the whole entire game and letting their D-line really get after it. So it's about me finding that balance and seeing where I'm at. And like I said, I won't know until kind of close to the end of this week.
Do you expect to go into Friday and even Saturday morning before deciding? Will it be that kind of situation?
Yeah, I mean, we'll push through it. I mean, Coach Reed kind of gave me that confidence to go out there and just push it and see where I'm at. Carson will be ready to go as well. I mean, he prepares as good as anyone I've ever been around, and his guys played a lot of games. So Coach will do a great job as far as practicing and stuff like that, getting both of us ready to go. And but my hope is that I am able to go out there and play. But like I said, we'll make the best decision for that at the end of the week.
Patrick, does the fact that there's the Pittsburgh game is just a few days after this next one, is that entering your thinking at all about how to approach this stretch here?
Not necessarily. I mean, if I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. I don't think that game after is going to really affect it, because if I'm not ready to go, then I'll have to wait and try to make it back for that one as well. So regardless of when we play that next game, I mean, these are important games, and we're trying to win to get that bye and to get to that second round of playoffs. And so we play 3 great football teams coming up, and I want to be as healthy as I can be and ready to play.
What have you seen from Carson that gives you the confidence you seem to have in him?
Yeah, I mean, I saw him. I've seen him practice every single day. I mean, even from training camp. I mean, just seeing him practice, it's you realize that he was going to win the MVP one year, and why? Because the talent that he has, and he gets after it every single day, and gives our defense great looks because he's throwing great footballs. And so he's a very talented player that works extremely hard, and he'll be ready if his number's called.
When you did have that playoff injury against the Jaguars, I assume that when you play on it the next week, it's preventing it from fully healing. The fact that the playoffs are only 3 weeks away, I mean, is there a primary objective to be healthy for the postseason?
I mean, yeah, in a sense, yeah, but I mean, just like the playoffs being 3 weeks away, and I mean, if you go out there and win 2 games, you're going to have a long break more than likely with that Week 18 game. I mean, even if you're waiting to play that game, you're going to have another extended amount of time. So just as important as it is to get healthy, it is to get that number 1 seed. And so if you can get through these games and win these games against 2 great opponents, it will give you some momentum going into the playoffs, and hopefully give you a little bit of a break there at the end.
Patrick, you talked about missing some shots. I know you took a lot of there were some next-gen stats saying this was the most aggressive you've been this year. What did you think about where it was and why you did or didn't connect on some of them?
Yeah, no, I mean, we took some shots during the game. I mean, I think the one that I really want to get back is the one where I threw to J-Watt early. I think I was a little bit of a force, and if I get that shallow crosser to Xavier, he might score. I mean, that's how talented he is with the football. And so you want to be aggressive and take those shots downfield, but you want to be able to hit those. And when they're not there, get to the guys underneath and let those guys make things happen with the football. I mean, you saw Xavier on the throw I had to him down the sideline where he caught it. I mean, it was a run, technically, I guess. But he caught it and went down the sideline. But he's talented enough to score on throws like that.
Last couple will go Lebo and then Nate. Go
ahead. What did you see from Hollywood in the day of practice? How close is he for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, he looked great. I think Coach spoke on it a little bit. It's not like he hurt his leg, so he got out there and he was rolling around. I think more than anything, it's him getting back in football shape. I mean, it's just different than training and stuff like that. And then him being able to feel confident enough to go out there and take hits and stuff like that, which he's been cleared to do. So it's about him getting more and more reps. You don't want to overdo it, but you want to let him go out there when he's ready, and hopefully that's sooner rather than later.
Nate?
Andy gave us a preview, Patrick, but from your vantage point, specifically what all took place yesterday, because you had the benefit of obviously having a noon game and traveling earlier on Sunday. Just what went into everything you did yesterday to even give you a chance to practice today?
Yeah, I think, first we did a little bit when we got back. I mean, just get back a little bit earlier with the noon game, and kind of got ourselves ready even on the plane, and then when we got back, and then yesterday I was just here like pretty much all day. So when you want to get out there and play and give yourself the best chance, you got to spend the time here, and luckily I have a great wife who'll take care of the kids while I'm up in the building for 12 hours or whatever it is.
Was it similar to what you went through back in January of 2023?
Yeah, I mean, you do similar stuff. I mean, every injury is a little bit different, so we worked on different stuff like that. But you start off with just kind of getting the treatment and getting it feeling good, and then you go out there and push it a little bit and try to get that movement going as well. And so you don't want it to get too stiff or anything like that. And I feel like it responded really well today, and we'll push it a little bit on the practice field and the rest of the day, and then see how it responds tomorrow and kind of go from there.
What can you do on the plane? What happened there?
I wasn't doing high knees or anything like that. No, we did some movement stuff, and some icing, some stem and stuff like that. But we kept it moving. We don't want it to just sit there and get too stiff. Okay.
All right, so that was Patrick Mahomes talking about the ankle. A little shot at Russell Wilson with the high knee shot.
That just feels like
he's basically making sure, like, I wasn't Russell Wilson doing the high knees on the plane. No.
That's absolutely
just some ice and some stuff.
It's the 50 Cent gif, right, or the meme, right? That's like, what are you saying F me for? Like, what the hell did I do? Russell was like, I'm trying to live my life today. But yeah, I've covered the Chiefs a long time. I'm not saying that some of the media stuff hasn't changed a little bit because now, like, the person who used to be in charge of the media, but like, in no time in my existence covering this team do they let Mahomes talk and he doesn't play. The way he's talking, he's going to play. Like, I officially put Mahomes' likelihood of playing at 90%.
It definitely went
95%.
up.
I don't know, somewhere in that range.
It definitely went up. I mean, from where we were pre-hearing him speak. I don't know how it couldn't. And as we acknowledge, the betting lines have done the same. Everybody was listening. And the Chiefs betting line has gone down at least a half point. We can continue to follow it throughout the show.
Yeah.
And you can say that doesn't matter. It does, though, for availability. I mean, that the
it's down
line's
a full point now. It's
yeah,
down to
I mean,
1.5.
That's not a coincidence that within the 20 minutes that Mahomes has spoken, from pre-Andy to post-Andy and Mahomes, that the line has gone down a half point. The Chiefs are now 1.5 point dogs, and
They were
that's
2.5
because there's more
hour ago.
more and more confidence that he could play. Do I think it's smart, though, the rest of the week from how much does it matter schematically to continue to play in the we don't know and Carson's going to keep getting rep thing and do that all week? There's no reason to come out here on Thursday or earlier and say that Mahomes is for sure starting. But I don't know how you can't feel better about how his progression is going. I mean, he acknowledged that the ankle is responding better this quickly than it did when he had the injury for that going to that playoff
game he played the following week of.
So
and like the ability to escape his feet out there so it didn't get landed on.
It tells you the ankle injury is not as bad as some of the other ones he's had. Now, it is a shorter week. The question I think I have in this whole thing, and look, he plays on Saturday and they win, and none of this really matters, but how's that ankle feeling on Sunday? Now, you can't do anything about that now. You haven't played a game yet, but how's the ankle feeling Sunday and Monday when you play on Wednesday? That's what I don't know.
Now, I guess the good news is the short week often comes with a whole hell of a lot less practice because they know that. And the Steelers, who are also dinged up a little bit, including Watt and some of their important players, they're going to have to do the exact same thing as you. They're going to play on Saturday, they're going to have to get themselves healthy, and they're going to have to roll this thing through. The way he was talking about it's like, way worse for the Jacksonville one. And in that one, he moved around a lot better than I was anticipating for that first game. And yeah, will it be 100% right the rest of the way? No, probably not. His whole thing is like, if I think I'm going to hurt the team, I won't play. Is there a universe in which Mahomes thinks that by Saturday?
It would have to be where he can't
he goes
move.
out today.
It would have to be
can't move. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes out today, he can't move, or he goes out today and then tomorrow, for whatever reason, it's not, it gets worse. Or, he aggravates it more at practice or something like that. But everything we heard there, and I'm not saying that it's, I obviously, specifically when Mahomes spoke. Like when Andy spoke, you're still wondering, okay, obviously going to play that we'll see game. Hearing Mahomes say it, though, and directly talk about his experience dealing with these ankle injuries, I don't know how you can't feel better about the chances of him playing Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think, I just don't think there's any way, like we discussed, to view it different than that. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work that way, but, I think that that's certainly a huge vote of confidence. Now, they did put Carson Wentz up at the podium, so they're
but that's what I'm saying. I think that makes sense. Well, one, he should get some first-team reps this weekend. I'm sure he will. I mean, you should be ready for that because this week of practice, like from a rep perspective for Wentz, is not just about Saturday. I want Carson Wentz getting reps just in case that the turnaround from Saturday to Wednesday is too tough for Patrick Mahomes and it gets re-aggravated. And how is he for that game? And you won't have any time for Wentz to get reps next week, really, before a Wednesday game. You have, 1 day of practice or something for that? So that's why I think this week's still important for Wentz to get some first-team reps out there. The other part of still we didn't address, though, for Andy is DJ Humphrey's not practicing again. So it's sure looking like Saturday they're going to have to decide once again, Tooney or Wane. I don't think there's really much of a decision there. To me, they'll have Joe Tooney start at left tackle again.
I guess he did technically say in there that he's...
We're weighing that option.
Weighing, that was the word he used.
Yeah,
I was looking for
weighing the option.
Weighing the option about whether or not to put Joe Tooney back there. I mean, he did great again in the first half against Myles Garrett, and then he got fried. But I'll be honest, I don't think that Myles Garrett would have, or that Wanye Morris would have held up against Myles Garrett. Like, I'm going to guess that he would have also gotten fried against what is, and I think Andy, or maybe it was Nate Taylor said, the presumptive defensive player of the year, and for a reason. I just think you got to play Tooney again. Like, you can't. This is like it's the Office scene where he's like, snap. You can't just we can't just go back and forth on this. You can't be like, it's Tooney, then it's Wanye, and then Wanye struggles, and you go back to Tooney, and then what if Wanye? No, it is Tooney until it is DJ Humphries, or it is Tooney the rest of the season. That's it. You want to go back to DJ Humphries when he's healthy and ready to play. That is a fair conversation. I think one you should obviously have as a football team. But this goes to the Mahomes thing. So Mahomes' ankle is different. He knows how to handle it. He's already making it kind of clear, I think. He's going to play on Saturday against the Texans. With DJ Humphries, the same rule applies, but with a soft tissue injury, so in my opinion, even firmer. Knowing you have to play on Wednesday means I would not play DJ Humphries on Saturday.
Well, it sounds like that's not. It sounds like that's the direction that's trending in.
There's no benefit. As a matter of fact, we'll see on Wednesday. Because then I get a full 10 days to get him ready for the final game. And look, do I want him to get more snaps so I can feel comfortable with it? Of course.
Yeah, someone on
Of course I do, but
Isn't that why you wouldn't play Mahomes though too?
Now Mahomes is different. He's a quarterback one, but
I know, but to me, what if Will Anderson beats Tooney one time?
Yep.
And he rolls up on his ankle again, and this time it's worse. And he can't go for the last two games of and then it's a quite.
I think it's on the coaching staff to protect him via play calling.
Yeah, and that's definitely the risk, Drew. Yeah, I mean that's part of the equation.
We've talked about this for 2 months. How we know Andy Reid is not going to change the way that he does things.
Well, I think that in regards to running the football, but I think that now that their quarterback is hurt, do I think they'll be more likely to have quick passes consistently throughout the game
or run the ball?
Yeah, I actually think it should have happened before an injury, but I think the injury changed.
This last game and realize that. Like I don't think that you could walk through the tape and be like, damn, the hell was I doing on that 4th and 3 that got him hurt in the first place? He could still be totally healthy, and we'd still would have won 21-7. Like, I think you learn a lesson from the last one.
For me, the thought, it's not the worry about Saturday. It's my concern, like you worry about the next game, I guess, when it's the next game, but is the turnaround after Saturday. When that ankle's barking barking right now, but when it's barking on Sunday and Monday and you only have 3 days to actually get the treatment done, then how's that available? How mobile are you then? That's my concern, but you can't get there until you get through Saturday either. So we'll see. I mean, someone on the text line 913-586-7965 said they would just start Humphries with Wentz. Humphries, it sounds like it's not available for Saturday, the way things are trending.
He's not healthy.
He's not even hell, Mahomes is going to practice in some fashion today, probably limited, right?
Yeah.
Humphries isn't even doing that. So I think it tells us the direction that's trending.
The other standout thing to me is that, and this is small, Andy Reid said Steven Nelson was going to need more time when we listened to him about 20 minutes ago.
Yep.
And they just cut Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm pretty convinced Hollywood Brown is playing too. You heard Andy, you heard Patrick talk about he's fast, the legs are still there, that's not a problem. And sometimes this is an underrated part of an injury like his in this case, because this very rarely happens in the NFL. Hollywood Brown is going to be the freshest player in the NFL. Yep. And for a player, depending on your talent, that might not matter because you're still a lesser talented player. He has been a 1,000-yard receiver, albeit once, in the NFL. In this league, he's had success. And so it's hard to imagine that Hollywood can't have some kind of impact on this offense. He's also another good, like you just mentioned, quick passing game guy. Get the ball in their hands in space and see if they can do something. That's Hollywood. That's Xavier. That feels like the kind of players who can take advantage of the protect Mahomes play calling. Same with Pacheco and and I take it back we talked about Samaje Perine like 5 weeks ago. He has proven himself a very valuable player.
Great blocker.
Over the last month, he is showing up in some better spots.
Great blocker, had a big screen. Had a big screen pass, reception on a screen pass, I should say.
He gave his life 2 weeks ago on a block.
He did. No. Now it's been pretty clear why They haven't used him in the receiving game as much, but he's been a really effective blocker. That was something that Jerick McKinnon brought to the table for this football team, and P. Ryan's kind of stepped into that role of being the running back that can help out and get you that extra half second if needed on a block, which is what they needed against the Chargers 2 weeks ago. Coming up next, we're going to get to all 32 around the NFL. We'll also talk a bit more about Xavier Worthy in particular and where he stacks up in this receiving room, plus the random question of the day coming up next here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Men, we hear it all the time. A man comes in to get his erectile dysfunction treated, and very soon thereafter, he tells us that his relationship is renewed. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and you should know that ED doesn't just affect you, it also often affects your partner. They can feel undesired, unwanted, they may even feel like you don't love them anymore. At Heartland Men's Health, we've successfully treated thousands of men for ED with protocols that have success rates well over 90%, which means if you're like most men, we can get you back to the guy you used to be. You could even last up to an hour or more and find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us today and give your partner the gift of renewed love. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Well, guys, you did it again. Even though Christmas is on the same date every year, you got busy, and now it's crunch time. And you got nothing for her. Well, that's not exactly true. You got me. This is Gene at House of Diamonds, where there are 3 things we do better than anyone else. We have better diamonds at better prices than even the online guys. We have the most skilled and technologically advanced custom jewelry shop within 200 miles. And no one, I mean no one, personally takes care of last-minute shoppers like I do. Hey, until I opened House of Diamonds, that last-minute guy was me. So I get it. Come in and see me. I'll show you a collection of one-of-a-kind pendants, earrings, bracelets, and rings that will blow her away. She'll think you started working on this back in July. Fellow procrastinators, I've got your back. Come see me at House of Diamonds. House of Diamonds on the southeast corner of College and Quivira.
Make your first NBA bet a swish with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets, from who will win the game to how many points a player will score. Plus, check out some of the newer bets, like how many dunks, assists, or three-pointers will happen in the next 3 minutes of a game. It doesn't matter if you tap into FanDuel before the game or after the game is already tipped off. You can pick up a W whenever. And now is the perfect time to get in on the action, because right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Use my promo code for your chance to score $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem. Getting up is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
What if you could hear your favorite song for the first time again? Introducing the all-new, reimagined Nissan Kicks. With an available Bose Personal Plus sound system that uses speakers in the headrest to create a 360-degree listening experience. You've never heard anything like this. Reimagine your music and your drive. Experience the all-new reimagined Nissan Kicks for yourself at nissanusa.com today.
Available feature. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold, we'll get to the random question of the day in about 12 minutes or so. Just a little update from the NFL. We're getting to that point of the season where they start to flex games more, but also decide who's playing on what Saturday. Just a little bit of news to pass along. Doesn't impact the Chiefs' schedule. They're already screwed with their schedule, right, in terms of the 3 games in 11 days.
It is what it is. Yeah.
But the NFL has announced 3 standalone games for December 28th. That's a Saturday in Week 17. It'll be the Chargers at the Patriots playing on that Saturday. It'll be the Broncos at Cincinnati on the 28th and Arizona at the LA Rams. So those will be the 3 Saturday games. Remember, the Chiefs will have played already on the Wednesday, as in Christmas Day. So they weren't eligible for this to begin with. But those are the Saturday games, and then the rest will be on Sunday.
Going to be, if you like NFL coverage, you're going to get it Wednesday and Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. You'll get it a bunch of days of the week.
I love it.
Around the week of Christmas, which a lot of people obviously
And
have.
it's just setting up to be a great week. Next week, you got college football playoff games start this Friday night, Indiana, Notre Dame. And then, of course, there's, 3 games or whatever it is on Saturday. And then you get into that. I mean, there's a heck of a stretch, NFL and college football games going on.
If I ever lose this job, I got to get one of those jobs. Like my wife has this, and I know other places do. My wife has recharge week. So they just get the week between Christmas and New Year's off
so
every
many
year.
people take that time off anyway.
But they don't have to. It doesn't count towards their vacation time. They don't have to take the time off. They get their normal amount of vacation time for the rest of the year. But then they also get the week between Christmas and New Year's off. That's badass. To just get it off, not have to take it off, that's sweet.
It depends on your PTO thing. I mean, I'm taking some time off
I'm
next week.
also taking PTO. I'm just saying in their case, they don't have to take it. That's all, which is kind of a nice thing. That's all I'm pointing out.
We don't have set days for vacation, so it's not like you're.
No, I said if I lose this job, I don't want to get into a job where they make me work that time or take vacation. I just want it for free. That's what I'm saying. Not that I can't take that time off. I'm definitely doing that, but that I
I just wanted it as like a recharge week. I said if I lost this job. Currently, I still have this job. And to be honest, I had a meeting with my boss. It doesn't sound like he wants to fire me yet. So
that's good.
Great news. Although dangerously close to Cody contract conversation again. We brought it up on this show again. Clock's ticking.
This goes back to your answer a week ago. You said when it comes up, you don't negotiate.
I'm at Chris Jones on.
No, you said you don't negotiate.
I'm out here working, wondering what's next.
Last week, you guys remember if you were listening to the show.
I did.
Cody says he doesn't negotiate. It's why he was willing to take the rental car they gave him, even though he was technically paying for a better car, and he took the crappier car.
Did you ask for the mascot?
Get my car back.
So
did you ask for the mascot?
I did. I'm not lying to you. In the meeting, I said I want a mascot.
I did. That was not one of my goals for the year.
That was one of my goals, and I made it very clear that I wanted.
You want
to
dress up. You want to dress up as the mascot. That's what you told him.
And then he said, "Who all would be in the costume?" I said, "Oh, it'd be different people from the show, and then I'd like some interns back, and maybe they could rotate in. It could be a mixed bag. We're not married to it, you know. Who is in the costume? I think it's a rotational thing."
I just picture Cody wearing like the
Who would be the
McGruff dog from like elementary school.
Who'd be the best mascot? I feel like Cody, you would put on a good performance.
Again, the talking.
I must say, only one of us on this show has actually been a mascot before. Just saying. So.
Were you like Baby
for
J or something?
For one game at junior high, I was the Bulldog, California Trail Junior High. Thank you very much.
I was playing in the game, so I couldn't be the mascot.
Ah, you're that. Did you hear that line right there? Did you hear that?
Wow.
Did you just hear that?
I did hear that. Subtle little shot there.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I was playing in the game.
Okay.
So Gold would be the first one then, you're saying, as the mascot because he has the prior experience.
That's right.
Text line
Very
says I need Nick
experienced.
to come back to negotiate my contract for me again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're going to have other people negotiate on your behalf.
Oh, that was a joke a couple years ago.
You're going to be seeing me sit at a UMKC game, both my agents on my left and the right side, holding out for a show.
At a UMKC game, of all the games.
Well, that's, it's like the Chris Jones equivalent to being at a Chiefs game, Yeah. Everybody recognizes me from there. So it'll be that. That's what it'll be on that end instead.
We'll know Friday. If Cody's not here Friday, that means things are not going well. So
I don't tell you the truth. You know what? Fine. That's a fair estimate.
We'll find out. If you're not here Friday, that's a bad sign. All right, we'll get to random question of the day in just a bit. But let's get to all 32. So I know, and I have no problem with it. I know we've all decided the MVP already in the NFL.
Yeah, Josh Allen's going to win it.
And
sure, it's
no issue.
That race is over.
He's been incredible. He's like minus 900 now. No problem. I do think it's interesting how, and we're all guilty of this, how recency bias of when a game is played factors into like our thought process on awards. It makes sense. We all do this. What I mean by that is Lamar Jackson in multiple categories has the same or more, in some cases yardage or touchdown, depending on the category, as Josh Allen. Everybody's talking about the Josh Allen numbers. And this is the best year of his career. I don't doubt that at all. But Lamar Jackson has similar numbers. And Lamar Jackson beat the Bills by 20 in September. Can you imagine? All I'm saying is, can you imagine, would we be saying the same thing if Lamar and the Ravens just played Buffalo, like this past weekend, and Lamar and the Ravens beat Josh Allen by 20, and the Bills-Lions game was in September instead?
Yeah.
Would we be saying it's over the same way we're all like, oh, well, it's clearly over?
No, probably not.
That's my only point with it. I have no problem with Josh Allen winning it. He's going to win it. I think it's funny, though, how we're like, well, it's just completely over now, but if you flip-flop the games, and Ravens-Bills was this weekend, and Bills-Lions was back in September, we would not be saying that is all I'm getting at.
This is the human element that makes it really challenging because you got to tell me as you, an individual, what you value. Because there's some people who it's easy, right? Josh Allen is the MVP, not because his stats are almost as good as Lamar Jackson's and Joe Burrow's. Not quite, but almost as good as those guys.
Yeah.
But his team's winning. His team's going to win the division. His team has won way more games than the other two quarterbacks. Well, then you're like, well, hey, QB wins. Let's not get that into it. I'm like, well, then why shouldn't Joe Burrow also be in the conversation?
Yeah, the only thing I'll push back on that.
And then it's like head to head. You might value that different. It's really difficult. So I think a lot of times it's just, whether we like it or not, if it's close statistically, it's vibes. And vibes comes down to the later season thing.
It does.
The vibes matter more in December than they do in August.
Yeah, my only pushback on the Joe Burrow thing would be I've been consistent on this for years, and there's just data to back it up, which is if you don't win your division, you're not winning MVP. And so that would be the automatic disqualifier for Joe Burrow.
Should it be a disqualifier? Who historically has won it versus what you value are different things. Yeah. You're saying you think an MVP has to win their division.
But historically, numbers do value. I'm saying
the people who vote, not you voting, not just individual. Because otherwise, right now, Lamar Jackson, why should he be the MVP favorite? He's losing the division.
No, but if they win on Saturday, they automatically if they win on Saturday, they're going to probably win the division. If
probably. I guess
depending on what the
final
Chiefs
two
and
games
Steelers
are,
get. My point is just that it's interesting. Now, ultimately, it's probably just the fact that Lamar's won it 2 times and people have voter fatigue. And so he's got an uphill climb. It's the same reason why for Mahomes, for a couple of years, we talked about how it's more challenging for him to win. It's, there's an expectation. It's why for Coach of the Year, Andy Reid really struggles to ever win it because people expect him to be great.
He can finish 16-1 this year.
He's 14-1 right now to win
and not even finish top 3 somehow in the voting.
Yeah.
One thing I can't believe, twice in the NFL this week, and I saw somebody suggest a suggestion that I think is idiotic. Twice this week, somebody dropped the ball before they got to the end zone. Jonathan Taylor, I think, single-handedly cost the Colts the game. That game unraveled the second he dropped that ball near the goal line. Probably cost people a lot of fantasy playoff wins too.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
Jonathan
about
Taylor
that.
would have been on there.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it, you're like, how does this keep happening? Somebody had suggested, hey, they're unimpeded to the end zone anyway. What does it matter if they drop it 6 inches before the end zone? Don't make that a reviewable play. No one cares. Until my retort is, are you kidding me? Your only job in the NFL is to protect the football. It's not that hard to run 2 more feet. Run to the back of the end zone before you let go of the ball. This might be the easiest thing I imagine to do. Do not give them an out. The players don't deserve some grace just to hold on to it. Hold on to the football or don't. And then give up possession of the ball. Cincinnati Bengals defender did it. I can't even remember his name.
Jordan Battle.
He was trying to switch arms. Doesn't matter either way. He was trying to give up the ball before the end zone. Jonathan Taylor just dropped it. We see it every year in college, in the NFL. It never makes any sense to me. They do not deserve any grace.
Right.
You're an idiot. If
Just
you
wait
choose to
another
do
half second, and then you can do whatever you want with the football.
That was the Colts' entire season. That game, their chance at the playoffs, it ruined their whole year because somebody wouldn't run another half a step with the football in their hands. It's crazy.
So we're at that time of year, where there's a lot of deals and all that stuff is going on.
Winter clearance time over at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Yeah.
Jordan Love loves him a good deal. And the reason why, I'm going to tell you this, I found this yesterday. Per Lombardi Avenue on Twitter, Jordan Love's career numbers, not during Toyotathon, 3,800 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 25 picks. During Toyotathon, he has 3,200 yards, 26 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he is significantly better in terms of turning the ball over, not turning the ball over, rather, during Toyotathon. So he wants Toyotathon to go through the rest of the year.
I got really bad
What's
news.
up?
I got bad news for Packers fans.
I
don't believe that goes till February, so you guys are screwed. I got bad news for you.
I think that's a through December thing.
So those who picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl are struck out.
I think it's in trouble. If that's really what the numbers are saying, I don't believe that goes on through February to New Orleans.
What's the connection to that? Is crazy.
It's hilarious.
This is a causation versus correlation graph that's really funny when you look at it. Because at least when we were doing this with Kyler Murray, we knew he liked playing Call of Duty. Double XP weekend was a bad time to be Kyler Murray on a football field. I don't know if anyone's run those stats again. What the hell does Jordan Love have to do with Toyotathon?
Maybe he drives a Camry or a Supra. I don't know.
He's just a big supporter of the brand.
If you guys want to do a bonus all 32 real quick, somebody texted it. I texted it to you guys last night. David Montgomery, over-under was 775.5. He needed 5 yards to break it. He got 4, and then out for the season, 775 total.
Yeah.
He misses under by half a yard.
So if you bet his total,
if you bet the over, 775.5, you lost by half a yard. Now, on the flip side, you bet the under, you're living right.
That's got to be elation.
You're living right. For every person that's upset about the over, there's at least somebody out there. There's somebody who had the under, and they're living right.
They probably got rid of it, knowing that he only needed 5 yards in 3 games.
Montgomery missed it by a half yard for you.
He got hurt. Knocked out for the rest of the season. A half a yard short?
It's the worst beat I might have ever seen.
I'd be sick, Gold. I'd be
You waited 5 months maybe on that bet, 4 months on that bet.
He only needed one
You're
more
feeling
carry
great
in the
going
game.
into the weekend. Like, hey, man, David Montgomery is going to win. Is going to get 5 yards. He's going to cash this thing. It'll be great.
It's gambling for a reason. Weird stuff happens. Like Darnell Mooney deciding not to have a single catch last night in your fantasy football playoffs. It happens.
Bad timing.
It happens. It is very bad
That sounds
timing.
like it's personal.
Not at all. Not at all. We'll get to the random question of the day.
You're still alive in guillotine?
All three. But yeah, congrats to our listeners that are still around in our Cody and Gold Guillotine League. We are in the final three now. Final three. I am in 3 guillotine leagues, and somehow I'm in the top 3 or the final
crazy.
3, which is crazy. I'm not going to win any of the 3 probably.
You'll be out by week 4 in all 3 next year. Somehow.
100%. But congrats to our listener. Let's see, Meat Beater.
Okay.
Myself and Get Your Butker Back in the Kitchen. Those are the
remaining teams.
Those are the 3 teams.
Wow. Man.
I'm projected to stay alive this week too. We'll see what happens.
Hey, you want those free wings from Jefferson just like
Drew
anybody
won it
else?
last year. People are going to get upset if 2 years in a row, if those of us on this show win.
I'll admit, there's one big advantage.
We know how it goes.
We have played in a guillotine league, and we kind of get the strategy a little bit.
We do.
There's a certain strategy to guillotine that does not exist in a regular fantasy football league. And I think kind of once you get a little bit of a sense of how it works, doesn't mean it saves you from getting eliminated early. It certainly doesn't. But it does give you some advantage in I kind of get how this works a little bit. I understand where I can spend or not spend or save or not, I just think there's a slightly different strategy to it. We'll
talk to Charge on Thursday and get some fantasy football playoff week 2 or week 1 for some leagues, depending on how your league does it. Advice that's a little bit later on. We also know the news yesterday from the Chiefs. You heard Andy asked about it briefly during his media availability in the last 45 minutes, but he said some nice things about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who we know was cut by the Chiefs yesterday. They just ran into a roster crunch and needed to have room for Hollywood Brown and or Steven Nelson if they decide to call him up. I think there's a separation to how people view Clyde. I think over the last year or so, more and more people I think have respected the hell out of him and appreciated what he's meant to the locker room and also what he's been going through off the field. He's been very open about the mental health struggles that he's been dealing with going back to his days at LSU. And so I think there's now a huge chunk, if not all, of the fan base that will view him differently in a positive way for what he contributed to the franchise. And then there's also the football side of it, which we can acknowledge. He was a first-round pick. And he didn't live up to a first-round pick. And it also happened to be in a year where Jonathan Taylor, who you just got done talking about, was in that same draft and has had a great career. First year in the league, Clyde had 1,300 yards almost from scrimmage. One of his best games was the opening game against Houston. Had the Buffalo Bills COVID year game where they had 200 yards or whatever on the ground. He had moments. I don't think he was ever the same post-ankle injury against the New Orleans Saints. Only played in 10 games in his second year of his career. Couldn't stay healthy and just was never the same. They compared him to Brian Westbrook when they drafted him. The day after the draft, Brett Veach, they were talking about how there's some similarities to Brian Westbrook. It just never panned out. Is he an all-time Chiefs draft bust? No, of course not. But obviously did not live up to where he was drafted, and that's disappointing, especially when we all got to know him more and more, I think, in this community and how great of a dude he is, and the locker room obviously respected the heck out of him. It's why the Chiefs did him a solid for as long as they could, which was they kept him on a roster, guys, for 15 weeks of the NFL season in which he was never playing. They knew that.
He never got on the field. He didn't play a single game for the Chiefs in his final. Remember, they picked him up as a free agent to come back. This actually is his 5th year, right, in Kansas City. Played the 4 years under his rookie deal. This 5th year now in which he did not play for this team because it ended up being Pacheco and some other people to go with it. But look, from a football perspective, I think it's inarguable to say that it did not work well. It wasn't a net zero. He was a 2-time Super Bowl champion. And I think players stay on teams all the time because they are good glue guys. And I think by all accounts, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was an excellent teammate in his time here in Kansas City. So I have to assume he helped Pacheco and he helped other players along the way come through parts of what they needed. And when they needed Clyde over the last couple of years, even though he wasn't the starter, they'd call him up, he'd play for a little bit, and then he'd go back, and you'd never hear ne'er a word, right? That he wasn't getting enough time, wasn't getting on the field. Pacheco was playing more. He played the good soldier. And so I'll give him credit for that. Obviously, they shouldn't have spent a first-round pick on him. But I told you, Drew, I think it was you, I think it was me and you, one of the days Gold was gone.
Yes.
I had said, because of that Pivot podcast, and I'd requested people, or I told people to listen to it then, and you should now. He was on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark. He did a long-form interview. It's 30, 45, maybe even 60 minutes, a long interview with Ryan Clark, in which he talked about the things that we all know coming out of the draft, in which he had to shoot someone, he had to kill somebody in self-defense who's trying to rob his friend. He has had severe PTSD and physical symptoms as a result of that, including chronic throwing up and some other stuff that have come with it. Because of all of that, I don't think I'm ever going to be Remember when Clyde failed? Like, I don't feel any reason to drag him down, if that makes sense. If we're just briefly talking about him from a football sense, I get it. It didn't work. They shouldn't have spent a first-round pick on the level of production they got out of him. But I just view Clyde different. And I feel like a lot of it is we're never going to be able to know what kind of player he could have been had he not also been dealing with that. Because in his rookie year, an 1,100 all-purpose yard back seemed like he had a little juice. And then he was dealing with medical stuff the rest of his time, the rest of his career, and it never came back. So
go back and watch that.
He could have been a decent NFL running back.
If you YouTube highlights from that Texans game and the excitement around him after that first game that he played, like, and just fast forward that, if you would have said that rookie year was going to be the best numbers he put up, I think that would have surprised a lot of people after year one. He burst on the first 6 or 8 weeks of the season. He was legit in the running for rookie of the year the first 6-7 weeks of the NFL season of his rookie year. And then unfortunately that was like the high watermark statistically and on the field for him.
The other part about this that we didn't discuss earlier is I will always think of this pick as a panic move because of Kareem Hunt. They had to kick Kareem Hunt off the team because of all the stuff that happened in the hotel in Cleveland. They then were like, oh my God, remember what our offense was when we had Kareem Hunt? And I think that led into the an elite level running back, that's going to, we're going to be cooking again. And they made these decisions because of what happened with Kareem, what happened after, where the offense was. Like, all these things are related. I view McCole Hardman that way because of Tyreek. Like, right? I remember the McCole pick.
Wow, that was even more different, though. I know. That was literally, that was like the day of the draft. The audio came out, and I hear that was a little bit different, but I get what you're saying. I think the Clyde pick, though, was also, they had just won the Super Bowl. They had just come off a Super Bowl, and it was like, hey, now look what this offense is going to be even more. Now they won the Super Bowl, and now they're adding Clyde Edwards-Helaire to this offense. Oh my goodness! Now what? I mean, I remember that was the whole thing. It's like the Chiefs just got another toy to have for Andy Reid in this offense, and they already won one ring. Look out! And it looked like that for the first 6-7 weeks of his career.
It did.
Well, and Clyde was coming off a year in which he had more all-purpose yards than Jamar Chase on that team. He had 1,800 all-purpose yards in that championship season.
What a team!
He had 17 touchdowns that year.
That's why, I mean, it's now you look back and you're like, no kidding, they won the national championship that year.
I said it at the time, and I don't think I've been disproven yet. I still think that is the single greatest college football team of all time.
No, I don't think
they won a playoff game by 30.
Who was it? Somebody on a TV broadcast this weekend said that too. Like, I don't think that's like even that crazy. I mean, that's kind of. I think now it's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious.
What year was that, Drew?
2019 LSU Tigers.
I mean, that's just like if you put like Mount Rushmore of greatest college football teams of all time.
Joe Burrow had 60 touchdowns.
Tell me that wasn't
nobody would beat them. Nobody would beat them.
Like they just had like
defensively, they had Patrick Queen.
Yeah, they had a
Patrick Queen.
They had a guy that would go on to be the top 5 NFL quarterback, top 3 wide receiver, and
two top 3
wide receivers.
Top 5 linebacker for a while, and Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, no wonder Coach O won a national championship.
He didn't even have to do anything.
They had like 4 first-round picks, several second and third-round picks. I mean,
if you also look at how good Joe Brady's been in the NFL, he was their OC at LSU in that time as well. So it makes sense why they were so good.
What a ludicrous year. Yeah, and I mean, look, that's part of it, right? That's part of it goes back to the Clyde thing too, where you just don't know what people are dealing with.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7965. This feels like a great group to pull for this. This is related directly to me, as you might imagine, based on that sense.
Oh, boy.
Look, it's a small question I think we can have about food in which I don't think you're going to get in trouble, Gold.
Okay.
I have volunteered to host Christmas for the Tapp family at my house this year.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
Normally, normally my sister hosted, in fairness, but this year I'm going to do it. And so this year I'll be hosting Tapp family Christmas. And so sometimes we've done turkey, sometimes we do ham. It doesn't seem like we got a real firm decision on the primary meat of choice. I was thinking I wanted to make a brisket. I like brisket. We don't have it enough during this time. Never been a Tapp family meat. But the question I have for you guys, and I need the text line and your opinion on this, is can I make a quality enough brisket for Christmas in my oven? Is brisket out of the oven acceptable? I don't have a smoker. I don't own a Traeger. I have a charcoal grill in which smoking it would be very challenging to do. Is oven brisket acceptable brisket for Christmas, or do I need to just switch meats or go buy a smoker?
Can you not do brisket in? Do you have a roasting pan?
I do. I could do it in a roasting pan. I'm open to
I
that.
think that would be the other option.
What is my best available option?
I mean, deep down, I know you won't do this because
Go buy a Traeger and smoke it.
Well, no. Deep down, I know you won't do this because you're the guy that also hand makes everything.
It's true.
You should just pick your favorite barbecue place. I'll name a bunch so people don't get mad. Smokehouse or Jack Stack or Q39 or wherever.
I can get brisket at Costco
and just go ahead and order a couple pounds and be done with it. That if you really want to know the truth, but if you're not going to smoke it yourself.
Did you? It sounds like you should be asking for a Traeger for Christmas so that you can make.
I'm not going to ask for a Traeger for Christmas. I'm just asking, you're saying just order it. You're saying just buy it. That's the solution. But I got to remind you, the Tapp family Christmas is not a small amount of people.
Everybody can chip in. You're hosting it. Doesn't mean they can't help pay for it.
I know, but normally it's just as the host person in our family, typically you're on the hook for the meat. Mm-hmm. And then, everyone else brings sides or alcohol or we're chipping in by bringing everything, if that makes sense.
Our good friend from the Copper Pig is like, hey, I'll smoke it for you, Cody.
For real?
He's offered. Yeah, he's offered to smoke it.
I'm interested.
We got it. He was in our guillotine league, as a matter of fact. So he was at some point he was going to bring in some brisket anyway.
Okay.
But
someone
said their mom made brisket in an oven all year long, almost better than smoked. Huge fan of barbecue. Someone else says brisket in the oven on roasted veggies, perfect for Christmas.
We all agree that brisket's a good Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, I think brisket is a fine choice.
I also think culturally that's far more common for you than it is for me. We never ate brisket at
What do
Christmas.
you mean for me, Cody?
You're
Make
Jewish.
it awkward for you. What do you mean? Did you like to do this to me? What do you mean?
Brisket during Hanukkah seems like a pretty common
Is that right?
stereotype.
Is it?
I would say it's a stereotype, which one that I think your family has operated under.
Uh-huh.
Does that seem accurate?
A lot of times. A lot of times.
That's all. Someone says prime rib.
Oh, that's different.
30 people come to the Taff family. I mean, I don't know how big of a prime rib I need, man, but this seems crazy. This seems crazy.
A lot of people just saying, just go flat out get a Traeger or green, one of those big green eggs or something like that.
Just go get, but I mean, that's $500. I mean, I'll use it other times.
I'm stunned you don't have one for Mr. Cook Everything.
Yeah, I like using the grill, but I just use a charcoal grill. I've never really had a smoker.
I think a lot of people do that have both, because the flavor's different. You have a charcoal grill and you have the smoker.
I'm certainly not against it. A lot of people just being like, dude, just go to Kansas City's the barbecue capital of the world. Copper Pig's offering.
I would just call up one of the barbecue restaurants and just order. How many pounds do you think you need for? How many people are going over?
30. Look. Some people don't eat red meat, so I'll also have some chicken. I'm gonna roast a chicken, maybe available, but or chicken.
Someone says they're having a party of 100. Oh,
100? No. 30 is just we do not extend beyond any level of extended family outside of just the 30. There's no additional cousins. 30 people is just my siblings and their kids. That's it. That's 30 people. There's no we don't have some off cousin or out of town. 30 people is just me, my siblings, and their kids. We get to 30 in a hurry in that case.
All right, that is the random question of the day. We might have to revisit that. A few people are recommending a couple different things, and Cody's taking screenshots of the text line.
I'm taking suggestions here.
Recipes and things like that. Up next, though, let's talk about a report in Topeka about the Chiefs and the city of Topeka. We'll explain that next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Van.
Lowe's knows that to win the job, pros need the best prices. That's why only at Lowe's, MVP's Pro Rewards members can get a volume discount on eligible orders as low as $1,500 at the Pro Desk. That means you get the prices you need to start any job, small or large. Because Lowe's knows pros. Valid in-store only. More terms and restrictions apply. Visit Lowe's.com/terms or Pro Desk for details.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors. Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Not gonna lie, I miss my car. My Volkswagen Tiguan, since that person rear-ended me on the highway, still in the shop. I miss driving it around because it's been my dream car. I bought it back in the spring from Volkswagen Lee Summit because I was getting ready to have a couple of road trips, needed a reliable car after 12 years in my Jetta, and I knew because that was the lowest maintenance car I had ever owned, I was comfortable and excited to buy a Volkswagen again. Volkswagen Lee Summit made the buying price easy, and while I thought I got a great deal, you can get an even better one over at their winter clearance sale, offering their biggest discounts all year. Up to $8,000 off Atlas or Atlas Cross Sports, up to $5,000 off MSRP on 24 Jettas, Taos, or Tiguans. Fantastic deals over there. You can do 0% APR for 60 months. Whatever it is, the deal you want, it seems like it could be available right now at Volkswagen Lee Summit. The discount's never bigger. Get the best prices all year at their winter clearance event. Maybe you want to sign then drive lease, 0 down, 0 next month. Whatever works for you, new or used. All VW models, they've got them at Volkswagen Lee Summit. Don't miss out. Go to VWLeeSummit.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door if it isn't ready. Let Overhead Door Company of Kansas City come out and perform their 14-point tune-up on the garage door and 12-point tune-up on the opener. One price covers 3 garage doors and openers. The work is guaranteed. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Trusted here since 1927. Call now to schedule your garage door tune-up, 816-221-0072. Or schedule online at OHDKC.com. OHDKC.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. For some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. We've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? It means everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom, and ready to do the same for you.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
This holiday at T-Mobile, I'm joined by a special co-anchor.
What up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Snoop Double G.
Snoop, let's talk about T-Mobile.
Okay, cool.
This holiday, get 4 lines for $25 a line, plus 4 iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and the all-new camera control on us.
Let's get cracking, like a breakfast egg.
You can use those eggs to make some eggnog, Snoop.
Respect.
And people do love T-Mobile, where you can save on every plan versus the other big guys when you switch.
You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
Always a great stocking stuffer, Snoop.
We up out of here.
Hold your horses, Snoop D-O-double-G. Let's remind people one more time.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get 4 iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us, plus 4 lines for $25. Now drop that jank.
With 24-month bill credits for eligible trade-ins and 4 new lines with auto pay. Well qualified customers plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits or credit stop and balance on required finance agreement is due $999.99. Credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save on wireless and streaming versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
We got a new function on the Odyssey app.
Did you guys know that this is a thing? I can send you messages from the Odyssey app. Kind of crazy.
KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Thanks for hanging out with us on a Tuesday. Hey, you guys heard that coming back from break? On the Odyssey app, for those of you that use it, a lot of you, you can send us voice messages on there, and then Drew can see them and choose to play them on the air in the future.
Some also can choose not to play on the air, obviously, for some reason. So
if they're really good, they'll make the air, you know?
Yeah, just go on a rant or something.
Also, add us on social media. I want to see some of the people. I know Odyssey. I know the Odyssey app sends out essentially their version of Spotify Wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw at least one friend send me I think they were a top 5% of all listeners of Cody and Gold. So I'd like to see the people who listen to the Odyssey app listen to this show.
And Gold.
I'll tell you what.
It'll send you how many minutes or hours
I'm on
you've
the air a
listened.
lot. I don't listen to the app as much as others.
Honestly, that's the truth. But no, let us know. Some of you, I want to see the actual rankings, if you will, for that to come out.
I'll get one of the 3 Cody and Gold T-shirts I still own. If you're in the top 1%, the first 3 people to show me you're in the top 1% of Cody and Gold listeners this past year, I'll get you a shirt.
So
I can't promise a shirt will fit.
You would have got an email this morning.
If it was the same person, this person listened to over 25,000 minutes
of
96.5 The Fan.
I love it. They got to be in the top 5%.
8 weeks of a listening streak. Fantastic.
That's incredible.
Top 5% of listeners for this person.
Man, good. Kudos. I appreciate it.
Have you been top 5% at anything before? I was in the top 0.1% of Chipotle eating once. That's about as high as I've been on that.
So every year I'm in the top 5% of my Spotify Wrapped because what you don't think about or everybody talks about eventually, my kids ruined mine. I was top 1% of all listeners of Descendants Rise of Red this year. Try topping that. All of mine are kid stuff. Kid stuff. I was top 3% of all listeners of The Amazing Digital Circus. It doesn't, it's all, mine's just, we try to create separate profiles, but Spotify doesn't really work that way in that regard. So mine is just riddled with anything my daughter listens to is 8. And my daughter listens to music in her room for roughly 3 hours every day. There's no amount of listening I could do.
So she's not Travis Hunter then?
Yeah, there's no listening I could do. I'm starting to work Travis Hunter's kind of a weirdo. Doesn't listen to any music. His ex-girlfriend said he used to take her to a party, sit outside the house for 3 hours, and then drive her home.
I can
doesn't have to sit outside the house, parked out in the car,
that part's weird.
waiting for her to come outside. That's weird.
Yeah. That part's true. I'll say that 2 things with it. One, I think people need to back off trashing his fiance. The other part, though, the whole story between him and his fiance and the whole conversation this week or so, it just needs to end anyway.
They both have gone and made separate videos explaining.
They need to stop explaining themselves, but also people being a-holes about his fiance or being a-holes. So stop.
I wasn't doing that.
No, I'm not saying you. Yeah,
I was like, wait, I wasn't saying anything bad about
this has been a huge thing for a week and a half or so. In particular, people have been pulling up stuff on his fiance, saying how he shouldn't trust her and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's pretty bad. It's messed up. It's messed up.
I didn't mean to bring that up.
No. Yeah, but that's the background though on why that story you referenced from the party and him. That's where that all comes from.
Got it.
There is a lot of new information coming out about
So
that.
it says, what about those of us that are just listening in the car? The OGs. You guys get a heads up on a lot of other stuff, though. There's no delay on the car like
they
the
listen
app.
to 93,000 minutes this year?
93,800, and it was overall for Odyssey on 96.5. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's a lot of minutes. Hey, listen, the delivery drivers, man, they're going to get a big advantage in this. People were just in their cars all the time, or postal workers, whatever it is.
So says they listen every day since we started. We appreciate it. Always appreciate it.
Oh, geez.
That's right.
I'll be honest. The text line was a cruel place when we first took over. A lot of people not fans of this show.
Can be dangerous. Can be dangerous when you're the new show. In any market that can happen. That was 5 years ago, though, man. That was 5 years ago. Real quick, Royals news to pass along. The Royals announced they have signed Kyle Wright to a contract avoiding arbitration. Remember, he was already with the organization, but just they avoid the arbitration stuff. And Kyle Wright is under contract for 2025. Also, they signed Noah Cameron and Evan Sisk. I'm not going to lie, I don't know who Evan Sisk is, but I know Noah Cameron to 2025 contracts. So just small housekeeping type of stuff the Royals announced today. And tomorrow, JJ Piccolo, general manager of the Royals, going to join us on the program. It's been a bit since we've checked in with him post-winter meetings now, so we'll talk some baseball tomorrow.
Someone says, how do delivery drivers get the advantage? I just meant it from the listening.
There's also no delay.
Time.
There's also no delay.
Yeah.
If you're listening to your car. Like if you're trying to, whenever we've ever given away something on the phone lines, there's no delay if you're calling in. So people always get upset when we don't wait for the app. Anyway.
Also, less of a delay on the video stream. If you ever want to watch on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, at 96.5 The Fan. Which one? Hold on.
Top text.
I only turn the volume down when Cody sings. It's Christmas time, man. We don't need this kind of energy, okay? We can be positive towards each other, be like a family on this show. My family. Like Brian Kelly.
Kelly, yeah. Brian Kelly, that's an all-timer.
I don't want to do that.
Anyway, let's talk about something that we meant to get to yesterday, and obviously post-game, it got kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit. But I thought it was interesting. We know there has been a lot of noise recently on the stadium stuff, and we're not going to talk too much about that directly, but it has a role in the conversation. And talking about Chiefs and Royals and where could they be, there was a story for CJ Online, which is the Topeka Capital Journal, for those that don't know, in Topeka. And there was an article, and it came up because of actually some discussions at the state capitol in relation to some budget stuff and where money was going or not going. Essentially, the state of Kansas was secretly, according to this article, trying to get the Chiefs training camp to move to Topeka.
You remember we heard rumors of this like 4 years ago?
Yes, we did. And
you and I?
Yeah, and I know for a fact that the Chiefs had representatives in Topeka earlier in the year to check out the Washburn campus. Obviously, nothing came from it. And the story in the Cap Journal is that, hey, there was this money that the state gave to Washburn to try to attract the Chiefs. Ended up not working out. They eventually give the money back to the state. We don't need to go down the result. The reason why this came to be is the lawmakers are like, hey, we never approved this. Why, this was all in like hush hush. Why did you weren't allowed to just give this money over to them, even though you got the money back with interest? But that's how this all came out to be like public record, essentially, through the legislature. But that was kind of interesting. We know that the Chiefs have been in St. Joe for number of years now, and they've got 1 year left, I believe, on their contract with St. Joe. I think the training camp future is all going to be dependent on what happens with the stadium, because we know there's rumblings. Hey, could, let's say, Kansas get the training camp facility, but Missouri keeps the Chiefs stadium, or vice versa, whatever it may be. But it looks like the attempt on Topeka's part, which, you know what? More power to you, Topeka, for trying. That failed, trying to get them to leave St. Joe to go to Topeka.
Is it weird? And so
$32 million deal is what they're working on.
I mean, that's incredible. And obviously the Chiefs do have value. I don't think that St. Joe doesn't think that it's not worth having the Chiefs. They continuously do upgrades to their facility. I imagine for the level that they play, that Missouri Western's probably got one of the nicer football facilities in their level of football, in their level of conference. I'm not surprised Topeka tried to steal him, because this is how border wars work. When you live in a major metropolitan area that exists on a state border, for the longest time, there was the whole, like, we have a truce after, and that's only recently. Before, they were just, like, openly stealing from each other.
They had a truce until the recent stadium stuff.
And then that started opening back up. I don't blame Topeka for trying to do it. I guess the question is, would fans care? Used to be in River Falls, so you had to make a real trip of it. St. Joe is like you can just make a day trip of it. Topeka's a day trip.
It's a day trip in the wrong direction if you live on the Missouri
Depends
or
on where you're
northern
at,
side.
yeah.
But if you're on the Kansas side, a little easier day trip. Like for us, it would be closer for you to go to Topeka, and it'd be further for me to go to Topeka than it is to go to St. Joe.
There's also the pride aspect. The same thing we do with the stadiums. If you're someone that's in Missouri, you probably don't want training camp going to Kansas, just like you maybe don't want the stadium to go to Kansas. Obviously, if you're a listener that's in St. Joe, I think we all recognize how important, the reason why Topeka would like it. We all know important training camp is for the city of St. Joe and the millions of dollars that training camp brings in, and people driving up there, and some people staying for the day and having lunch. Like all that is a huge economic boom for St. Joe, and a lot of the facilities at Mo West are because of the Chiefs, right? I mean, some of the athletic facilities. Now, I'm sure deep down, like the Chiefs literally just take over that campus. So I'm sure if you're the football program, you got the nice facilities, but it's probably a little bit of
you're the university. You're like tough.
Might be a little bit of a pain to navigate that. But this was just, I thought it was interesting over the weekend. CJ Online, nobody's saying it's happening, but just that they had a real plan, real conversation with the Chiefs that they tried to secretly get the Chiefs to bring training camp to Topeka. It looks like that did not happen, obviously. But
part of me thinks that a deciding factor, even though this is a business decision and Mark Donovan could make this decision without consulting Andy Reid, is if there's someone who hates change more, I haven't met him, than Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Andy Reid knows how to get to St. Joe, where to practice at St. Joe, where to set up the practice field, where to set up the clocks, how to do his practice, where everything is. He knows where to get the best cup of coffee. He's been going to St. Joe every single year. He has been the head coach of the Chiefs. And honest to God, I think they're going to St. Joe until Andy Reid is not the coach. And then when he's not, I think he'll just be back in Kansas City at the practice facility.
That's ultimately why I don't think even this discussion about the Topeka deal that they were working on, whatever the stadium outcome is, none of us know ultimately what's going to happen. But whatever that is, whether it's the stadium in Kansas and the facility right there, or one state, the stadium's in one state and the facility for practice is another. Yeah, I think after Andy Reid and kind of the old school mentality that he has with camp and why it works, and clearly it works for them in the setup, that's when they'll change. But so much will be about the stadium. So we're talking 2031. So much of that aspect. Now, could they go somewhere else for 4 years? I guess. But I think we've seen what other teams are doing, right? The Dallas Cowboys have the stadium in Arlington. Frisco is where their facility and practice facility and everything is at.
I guess the only thing I don't want to lose, like if I'm a Chiefs fan, and I don't know what'll happen after Andy Reid, and this is a risk that comes with the practice facility, is I'd be kind of bummed if they lose the access. There are teams like Washington who allows you to see the team in practice and training camp twice. Twice.
That was the Bucs, though. Wasn't it the Bucs that cut it down really short, too?
Both. Like, let you see them twice. All right, you can come see the team 2 times. The end. That's not fan-friendly. It's training camp. Let them come up and experience the team. For some people, this is the only way they get to experience the team, because going to a game is $8 trillion, right? It's not cheap to go to a Chiefs game. Like, if you want to sit upper tank for the next Chiefs game that's not even, they play at home on Saturday. Yeah. On Saturday, what's it going to cost you? $300 a ticket?
Less than that, but I get the point.
$200 a ticket?
I get the point.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Plus parking, plus food, plus whatever. It doesn't matter. It's $1,000 to go if a family of 4 or whatever. It's not going to be a cheap experience. And so this is a different way for your fans to get to see it. Andy shuts a few practices down. And if you want to limit the people who can record fine, but allow your fans to be near it. And my fear is if it's a practice facility, unless you purpose build the practice facility with stands in it for people to watch, they're going to really turn it down.
Well, a lot of teams do, though, too. They'll have at the practice facility or whatever, they'll have a night. They'll do what the Chiefs used to do, which when they remember when the Chiefs first went to St. Joe, they used to have the opening night or whatever, where they would play on that practice field.
I remember,
and you actually be in the stands. Remember that? That's way back, but they did that. They don't do that anymore. They just have more practices open to everybody. That's the alternative that some other teams do. They would have a training camp practice actually at the stadium is what they would do.
Yeah, or they do. It's only season ticket members, and I'm like, for all of them, it stinks.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have enough seats, so anybody who wants to come to this better be a season ticket member. Is well,
I never made it up to River Falls. That was one I never. I was too young at the time, but obviously that was a thing for many, many, many years.
I was you and I were younger. I wasn't covering the team or doing sports radio in any way when they were going to River Falls.
So, and my
instead of us driving up to St. Joe, could have been driving up to River Falls. We would have been stuck. We would have been up there for 3 weeks.
Is River Falls?
Much. I mean, you can't drive there and back.
You know, the media used to stay in the dorms when they were.
That would be an adventure.
Just like the players, who just like you and I would share a dorm room.
Oh gosh, that would be some content. That would be some show content.
You can't argue that, man.
That would definitely be some show content.
River Falls, Wisconsin is 6.5 hours away.
Yes, that's one of those like you're staying up for the week. Like we would drive up on a Sunday and we'd be there the whole time.
I just don't think they'll ever go back to that. I think
Oh,
there are
no,
still
no, no.
teams.
It's either
San
they're gonna-
Francisco goes like way out of town.
Dallas has gone out to Oxnard, California, or whatever. A few years when I was down in Houston, the Texans used to go to what's the town in West Virginia? It's like a very nice like resort. Basically, they would do their practices from for part of the training camp.
Wheeling?
Huh?
Wheeling, West Virginia.
Well, now you're
It's a
making
spot on the-
now you're
it's
gonna make
spot-
me look
it's
it
a spot
up.
off the interstate. Charleston, Huntington.
Why do you know so many West Virginian cities?
White Sulphur Springs. Is that where they? Is that where
Country Road. I don't know, man.
How
like
the hell
that
do you
is
know
in-
so many cities in West Virginia?
So,
like you've never lived there, I don't think.
every single time I go to our family vacation in North Carolina, driving from Indy, you go through you go through West Virginia.
Greenbrier and White Sulphur Springs, West
White
Virginia.
Sulphur Springs.
There
I
you
tell
go.
you.
You mentioned White
There it
Sulphur
is.
Springs, man. I gotta give him credit for it. He definitely said it. He definitely said it. I don't know if you guys caught this yesterday, and I know that this is like one person sucks to another person who sucks, but I got a little bit of joy last night, and Adam Schefter dunking on Doug Gottlieb for what? And like I don't know if it was a justified reason or not, or they got beef beyond. But if you missed it yesterday on social media, Adam Schefter sent out a tweet that seemed, I would say, pretty agent heavy, talking about Sac State's interest in Michael Vick, saying they got $50 million in NIL and that they were in conversations to maybe make Michael Vick become their head coach. And
Sac State is currently in the process. They're trying to get to
Division I.
FBS, and that's the big push. And, a lot of people took issue with the tweet because
it's phrased in a very
Sac State does not have $50 million just sitting there in NIL. They have commitments and a plan. If they had actually $50 million in NIL to go spend, that's double the money Ohio State just spent on
Bryce
football.
Underwood would not be a quarterback at Michigan. He might be going to Sacramento.
So that was so Doug Gottlieb basically called him out for that.
yeah, he's like, have the agents edit it a little bit before that, Schefter, to which he responded with a screenshot of the standings. 0-7 in your conference and in last place, maybe spend less time on social media and more time in the gym. And I thought...
For context, though, people may not get it. Doug Gottlieb is now
he's the
currently
coach.
the head coach at Wisconsin Green Bay. That's what.
So, like, honestly, should Schefter, of his status, be bothering his time dunking on Doug Gottlieb? Schefter's tweets are getting a little out of control.
He definitely got him good on that one. I will say though, I think Schefter's tweet was inaccurate, and I do think there's been more and more tweets happening when he gets away from NFL stuff, when he tries to start talking about college football or any other sport. Some of his stuff is clearly a text he gets from an agent, and he just puts out whatever the agent tells him and doesn't do much checking. Adam Schefter is as connected as anybody. But yes, he's been, I think, toting that fine line of pushing agent propaganda, if you will, too much.
I mean, I don't even know if it's a fine line anymore.
Yeah.
He's a sellout. Schefter's a sellout. He certainly makes it like he might be quoting something direct word for word out of a text group chat with an agent at this point, based on some of them. And there was like a 2-month span where it felt like everybody's reporting was, this deal was done by this agent. And you're not going to get the information unless you're willing to phrase it that exact specific way. But Doug Gottlieb sucks. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've worked with him a couple of times over the years. He sucks.
You've worked with him or just had him on your work? What do you mean worked with him?
I've had to have him on a show on a regular
Oh, I thought you work. I was like, what project did you work on?
Had a number of on-air conversations, off-air conversations. I've met him a couple of times. He sucks. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you, he sucks. So it brought me a little joy to see him get dunked on by Adam Schefter. But it's a little bit like that meme of the worst guy you met makes a great point, which is Schefter, he's actually kind of making a pretty good point about some of your tweeting habits and how you need to maybe check that a little bit, because this one does read like garbage. And he retweets stuff all the time. So yesterday when it came to the Deontay Johnson news, he sent out a tweet that said, the Ravens and Deontay Johnson have agreed to part ways. Quote tweeting just a screenshot that said that they had dismissed him from practice. And then he had to delete him. I guess
well, that might have just been a mistake, in fairness. Like, that might have just been a flat-out mistake.
You're saying he was jumping the gun.
Yeah.
In his reporting.
Someone says I'd sell out to make Schefter money. Probably. But, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, if you listen to, like, Woj, there was a really, really, really long piece on Woj recently, who it turns out, right, obviously left his job as an NBA insider because of his cancer diagnosis, in which it sounds like it's going to be, you know, like, well-treated, well, treatable and all the other stuff. But he was just, like, reflecting in this piece about, like, living this life of constantly breaking. It sounds miserable.
24/7, phone by you. You're worrying about it at 3 a.m. You're on vacation with your wife, and you're still all that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't shut it down. You can't ever shut it down. You got to give up the crown if you want to. And I just like, I don't want that life for me. If you said, hey, man, you got to live that life for 5 years and take his pay, I'd do it. Okay? I'd take the pay. But I wouldn't do it for 20 years. I do it for 5 and retire.
Yeah. I bet you for those guys, too, though, like Schefter, there's probably a bit of a rush you get, though, still from, like you're not doing that unless you enjoy it. Like, there's got to be a rush of being able to, like, break the news, right? Like, I think there's no way they don't kind of...
And in theory, it's kind of gotten him to be who he, like, his persona in a way.
He used to just be a beat writer in Denver.
Yeah, like Adam Schefter's persona now is like that guy, or Woj was that, like the Woj bomb. Like there was a whole nickname after Woj.
Pass and does it. Like there's one for every sport, but it's just like I couldn't do it for more than a couple of years. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it seems exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, and Schefter is very good at what he does. It's just recently he's been getting more criticized. That's all.
Per advice of the text line, by the way, going back to barbecue. A bunch of people are like, hey, man, don't cook brisket for the first time on Christmas. You're going to ruin it.
Yeah, the first time won't be the best.
And if you do it, get a smoker. I think I'm just going to like order or do stuff with the Copper Pig. They offered. I'm just going to do something with a barbecue joint. I think you guys might be right. Maybe I don't need to make this one.
I think you call up a place and order it,
I can make other things for Christmas, right?
Just order
Gives me time to
brisket.
make other things, just not the brisket.
Yeah, pick wherever you want. Maybe it's somebody over at Copper Pig. Maybe it's somewhere else. Doesn't matter. Order some brisket.
What do you guys eat when you get together for Hanukkah? You guys get together on Christmas for Hanukkah.
Yeah, this year
Hanukkah and Christmas.
This year Hanukkah starts on Christmas as well.
What's a typical Gold fare?
I don't know what they're doing this year. Again, you think I'm in charge of that? I don't know what we're doing this year. Yeah, sometimes it's brisket. Sometimes it's like this chicken thigh dish and some other stuff that's really good.
My wife's family always did curry.
No, we don't. I can tell you that's not what. I can promise you that's not what we're doing. But no, it'd be like twice baked potato, some brisket, maybe these chicken thigh things. Way too much dessert because my mom always overbuys and overmakes stuff. She's so worried about running out. It's become like a joke of our family for the last 15 years now because she's so worried that we won't have enough. I'm like, you realize if everybody eats and there just is like only like a small portion left or none left, it's like it's okay. Like they're not. We don't need to have enough for like an extra 5 people to come over, and it's become a running joke. So. That'll be fun, yeah.
Just in case 10 people randomly pop in.
That's what I was saying. Like yeah,
family Hanukkah. This is not going to work.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
Smart.
All right, up next, we'll do a quick what's trending. And then earlier today, our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino, joined us. We got some scoop on Bobby Wood Jr.'s wedding, and we also talked some NFL power rankings with him.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
If you're in the need of a midweek boost, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, has you covered with the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. Now, every Wednesday, you can get parlay profit boosts on everything from spreads to over-unders and even player props. So don't let the weekend have all the fun. Take advantage of the Hump Day Parlays Reward Stack. And who knows, it might just become your favorite day. Look for the Hump Day Parlay Reward Stack in the FanDuel app to find your profit boost. If you're new to FanDuel, you can just visit FanDuel.com/Alex. Use that promo code, FanDuel.com/Alex, and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Finding an attorney can be an overwhelming process. Fortunately, since 1996, Mark Ferguson has helped thousands of Kansas Cityans during their time of need. Whether you're facing a traffic violation or a more serious crime, Mark and his team of seasoned, compassionate professionals are here to fight for you in all of your legal matters. Mark has built his career on integrity, knowledge, and an incredible reputation. Call Mark Ferguson at 816-203-2263. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold, and for those of you who've been listening to the show for a while, you know all about our friends over at Centric and how you can find a brand new career in as little as 4 months. But did you also know that you can work with your current schedule with some of their flex options for learning online or in person?
Maybe you're just getting out of high school and want to start that career now and that career path now, or you're looking for that change with better advancement, better pay. Centric can do those things for you.
They have plenty of funding options like the GI Bill. You just got to go talk to our friend Russ at Centric.com. That's CENTRIQ.com.
Thanks, Bob. We're here with Doug the Elf, asking about the hottest holiday gifts of the year. Doug, what's on your list?
Yeah, we're getting Missouri lottery scratchers and draw games. We came all the way from the North Pole.
They don't have lottery tickets there?
Now Missouri lottery tickets. They created a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year. Woohoo! I just won!
But I thought that was a gift.
Well, yeah, for me.
You heard it here first. Scratchers and draw games from the Missouri Lottery make great gifts for the holidays. Play it forward and play responsibly. Back to you in the studio.
GiveMeTheVin.com. Our expert buying team knows exotics, luxury cars, classics, diesels, lifted stuff, hot rods, inside and out. We buy them at GiveMeTheVin.com. It's a one-stop shop to get into a pool of absolute experts. Join my YouTube channel, John Clay Wolf. GiveMeTheVin.com. They don't call me America's best car buyer for nothing.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have over 20 years of experience servicing the KC Metro. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, as well as commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4869 or southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments, Jay's Southland Tow Service. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay's Southland Tow.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth. Why not start today?
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Lowe's knows how to help you save time and money, no matter the job. That's why we can deliver supplies to your job site as soon as same day, so you have more time to get the job done. Because when you need it fast, we've got you covered. Lowe's knows pros. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details. Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and that means limited time savings on the paint pros need. Right now, save $15 on 5-gallon pails of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams All-Purpose Power Primer. Plus, get it delivered to your job site with free same-day delivery when you order by 2 p.m. Visit us in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 12/20. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN+. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line,
Wine Golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at tglgolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up. It's golf.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves.
Curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly. B21.
Chiefs coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by award-winning Johnny's Barbecue in Olathe.
Football and barbecue fans, score big with Johnny's Barbecue tailgate packages. Whether you're hosting a home gate or a tailgate, Johnny's Barbecue has you covered. Check out our tailgate packages at johnny'sbbqkc.com. Located in Olathe and serving all of KC. Johnny's Barbecue. Taste the smoke.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending on Cody and Gold is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We got an update from Andy Reid earlier today. Patrick Mahomes is going to give it a go today at practice. I expect his status to be listed as limited. We do know DJ Humphries and Shamari Connor not practicing. I don't think we're surprised on the Shamari Connor. I mean, that was a scary hit, and he didn't know where he was at. I don't think he's playing on Saturday. It seemingly looks like the thought right now, and certainly from Mahomes hearing him speak, he's playing Saturday. Like, if I had to guess right this second, I think Mahomes is playing.
90% chance he plays in my personal estimation, but yeah, I'd be kind of surprised now at this point if he didn't. Next up on What's Trending tonight on 96.5 The Fan, K-State hosting Drake at T-Mobile Center. So if you want to go down to the game, you can. Missouri's hosting Jacksonville State as well.
I think the Wildcats are like 1.5-point favorites against Drake. Drake has some fans in the area as well. I'll be interested to see what the crowd's like tonight at T-Mobile. Last one real quick. Aiden Hutchinson on a podcast today said he is on track to return to the Lions if Detroit makes it to the Super Bowl. He said he'll play. He said he'll play in the Super Bowl. Obviously, a lot of things have to happen, and now they're so banged up there in Detroit with the injuries. That is a quick What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. It's quick because earlier today, Vinnie Pasquantino, our viNFL insider, joined us. We not only talked about his view on the AFC and those Detroit Lions on the NFC side, but we got some scoop on Bobby Wood Jr.'s wedding.
He's had songs written about him without asking for it.
Pasquantino, I want it. Now it's time for Pasquantino.
Mythological creatures and sandwiches have been named after him.
Beefy and Italian.
And he also thought the Devontae Adams trade was going to save the Jets.
The damn Jets.
Welcome back to the show. Our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino.
All right, it is that time of the week where we do check in with our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. Happy anniversary. First of all, I must say the sleigh ride through the snow is a nice touch, man. Was that planned by you? That was very nice.
Yep, that was planned by me. Did it all on my own. Talked with the concierge a little bit at the hotel, see what was popping out here, and that was recommended. So I'm not allowed to ski. Obviously, it's like number one in the contract is no skiing. So, but I can't get on a sleigh. So that's what I did.
I'm not going to lie. That looks super romantic, Vinny. That feel like it earned you a lot of points.
Yeah, it's what I do. I'm a romantic at heart. Had a nice dinner last night, too. So, yeah, brownie points galore for me this week.
I don't think I've ever asked. There's no reason why I would have, but now you're talking about being a romantic. How did you propose?
I proposed at Luce Park.
Okay.
On the bridge.
That's a classic spot, man. Classic Kansas City spot.
Yep. So we're just Kansas City people.
Now,
that's where we got engaged. So it's great.
So I don't know. Like, it seemed like maybe it was a no photos with cell phones wedding because I didn't see a single shirtless photo.
That's because I did not bring my phone down there. There is a picture though, and if it turns out as good as I think it will. Let's just say there's a lot of people in that photo.
Okay.
So when are you going to release it? I can't be teased with this kind of information.
I don't know. I don't know when the wedding photos are going to come out. I mean, the wedding was in like 7 different national magazines, so there's so many different photographers that were there.
Yeah, do you not have exclusive people photos for your wedding too? That wasn't the case?
No. That is the difference between being a superstar baseball player and a decent baseball player right there, folks. That is the difference, the biggest one.
Yeah, the other part though we noticed was there was Whataburger, like a pop-up Whataburger, and like Whataburger though they made like a pop-up restaurant.
Yep, pop-up restaurant. Never seen that at a wedding before. Yeah, it was a Whataburger.
I just hope that was it Jack or James, whoever DM'd you last week? I hope he's happy there has not a shirtless photo out there yet, as Cody said.
Yeah, no, Jack is because I'm just a jerk. I thought about DMing him and being like, "Hey man, is it okay if I post some photos from the wedding?" Just like, is that okay with you, Jack, or should I just post photos like at the gym or something? Well, I don't know what he wants from me, but I decided to just stay away from it. It's probably not a good thing to do that, but I wanted to.
It gets tempting, I'm sure. I'd be tempted. I'm not gonna lie.
I think about Jack way too often these days, if I'm being completely honest. The past 2 weeks, he's just been living rent-free in my head.
Well, I guess Jack got what he want with that one, maybe. But you'll move on. Baseball will take hold here in February, so you'll be all right. Plus, we got NFL playoff time coming around the corner here in no time, which means we'll get your power rankings here in just a minute. But I want to ask you about a couple of the big dogs in the NFC. The Eagles and the Lions. Obviously, the Eagles continue to look good. The Lions lost even more players. Are you worried about the Lions' ability to kind of like last with all these injuries?
Yeah, I am. It's just the tough nature of sports. It's just like injuries can ruin a team. You build your team to be with certain people, especially in football, certain schemes, different things that guys can do. And when you lose that many people, that's terrifying. Now, the good thing is they're still putting up points. So you can score points. That helps you. But, yeah, it's tough. They've dropped in my power rankings. There's your spoiler. Not far, but they've dropped.
Meanwhile, it was, of course, Buffalo who beat them, and their offense continues to put up a ridiculous amount of points. Their defense, though, has given up 86 points the last couple of weeks. Where do you view Buffalo right now? I know, as Cody said, the rankings we'll get to in a second, but just Josh Allen, a lot of people think the MVP is completely over now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're really good, but I think they've got a defensive coach. Don't you think it'd be weird if you had an offensive coach and you had won 2 straight games, like 6-3?
Yes.
I think there would be a completely different narrative out there. Obviously they're a really good team, but that's at some point the dam's gonna break if you keep giving up 40 plus a game. Even if you can score 40 plus, probably not gonna be able to do it all the time.
I guess where are you on QB wins as a stat? Do you attribute those to actual quarterbacks? Is more the team sport thing? Where do you stand on hey, they get the wins, so that counts?
I don't know. I just look at actual wins and losses. I think it's probably a tricky thing because if your defense gives up a bunch of points, but I don't know. That's why I think MVP awards are weird too, because what does it mean? Do you want to just give it to the best player on the best team? I don't know. I just don't really have a strong opinion on it because it's like in hockey, don't goalies get wins and losses? What if your team doesn't score? What are you supposed to do? So I don't know. I don't have a strong enough opinion to really speak on it.
Or in Josh Allen's case last week, score 40 and then not get the win, right?
Yeah, but then you look at things that they did in that game, and it's like, why did they QB sneak when they had their 3 times? That's even though that's called in, isn't that kind of his fault for running that play? I'm sure he has the freedom to change it if he really wants to. So obviously, there's no guarantee they're going to win that game, but still, you look at little things like that, and it's like, that's tough.
We're talking to our viNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. I'm sure you're wondering, we've avoided the subject for a second. There's not been a lot of times we've had you on the show when the Jets are coming off of a victory, so I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the Jets.
We're back. 2026, or what year is next year? 2025. 2025, we're back. You got to bring him back. You got to bring Devontae back. You got to find a way. Because I don't know if you're drafting a quarterback. I don't think Sam Darnold's coming. So we're in for another probably 6-win season next year, but it's really exciting. Really, really exciting. They're playing one of the worst teams in the league, and they looked really good.
Devontae Adams is still really good.
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, you have Garrett Wilson on the other side, too. It helps both of them. It's just, I don't know. Their defense also gave up a bunch of points to Mac Jones. No offense to Mac Jones, but he hasn't really proven he can put up a lot of points. So the Jets' defense is surprisingly awful, which sucks, but the offense looks pretty good lately. Pass protection's pretty good. They don't run the ball worth crap, but when Rodgers looks like that, they can win, they can win games. They scored more than 30 points for the first time all year.
The Chiefs have only done that once, so don't feel bad. But since when you look at, and I want to ask you a couple of Chiefs-related questions here in just a second, but first, it seems like we're talking Jets, and the documentary comes out today. Are you watching that Aaron Rodgers documentary today?
No, I will not be watching that. He's the quarterback of my team, but he's not a friend of mine, so I'm not really going to watch his documentary on him going to Costa Rica and doing ayahuasca. Not my cup of tea.
Okay.
But for those that it is, happy for you.
What's on Netflix these days for you?
I've been watching The Blacklist a lot. I'm almost done with it. We've got 4 episodes left. I've got to find a new show after that. So I like shows that have a ton of seasons that I can just dive into.
There's a Hallmark movie you should watch, Vinny. I don't know if you've heard. There's
You're in it, aren't you? You're in it.
That's right. Yeah, my car is in it for about 2 seconds. My side of my face for about a half second. The Chiefs Hallmark movie. Yeah, you should definitely watch it. The wife will love that.
Yeah. Okay.
Feels like a maybe.
Cody mentioned the Chiefs, though. How many times we've had you on the show, we've been talking about Patrick Mahomes having an ankle injury, and we've reached that point in the time of the season where, unfortunately, he once again has an ankle injury, and that's the number one story in Kansas City, as you can imagine, this week is he going to play Saturday? Should he play? What's the recovery like? As someone that has had injuries, I'm not asking you to exactly deal with his particular injury, but just how do you see this week playing out as any athlete that's trying to rehab from something and knowing that there's the balance of protecting yourself, but also, I'm sure, he, of course, wants to be out there on Saturday?
I don't know. I don't think there is such a thing as protecting yourself as an athlete. That's on the trainers and the coaching staff to do that. Like, if I think I can go, I'm going to go. And if I don't think I can go, like, I'm basically on my deathbed. And I'm saying that's the general consensus. Except for the linebacker for the 49ers. But I mean, that's kind of your job. Like, you get paid to go out there and do your thing as best as you can. And a lot of times you're not 100% healthy, especially at this part of the year in football. Like for us, once you hit like July, August, September, like nobody's 100% healthy. Obviously, this is a strange case for the Chiefs because the 1 seed is all but locked up. What, do you got to win 2 games to automatically get the 1 seed?
Yes.
Or if the Bills lose one and you guys win one. So I don't know. It probably depends on the severity of it, of what they feel like they can, do they feel like, I mean, it's a tough 3 games. Maybe they don't necessarily want to put them out there and show those teams that they might be playing soon what the team looks like. I don't know if there's any sort of gamesmanship or strategy to that, but he's going to be doing whatever he can to be on the field.
Somebody, by the way, on the text line is warning you're going to hate the ending of the Blacklist. So I'm just preparing you now. I don't know. They're warning. They're warning that the finale might not be good. What is, I guess, like you had an injury, and certainly like the dynamics between different players. But like, let's just say Bobby said, I'm playing because he's Patrick Mahomes, right? Like the level of player and the dynamic between it. Can a coaching staff, does anyone ever really stand in the way of a player like that if Mahomes is like, I'm playing, I don't really care what you say?
You think Bobby played 161 last year because the coaching staff wanted him to play 161?
No, he's just like, I'm playing and you can't take me out.
Yeah, he DH'd once. You look at Sal as well. You look at guys like that. Like, there's a reason they're out there as much as they are, right? It's because that's their job. They know it. It's what they think. Like, it's what they are good at, is being out there every day. It's not the argument I can make because I get hurt every year apparently, which I'm working on, by the way. Working on trying to figure out how to stop that. But like, those guys don't want days. It doesn't, in their minds, it doesn't make them better to have a day off because sometimes days off are more stressful than days on because you're not sure if you should get ready for the game at what certain point. So like for them, just staying in that everyday routine is better for them. And sometimes that's probably tough on coaching staffs, but that's the job of the player, is to sometimes make the coach's job hard because you're ready to go every single day.
All right, here comes the music. A little power ranking from Vinnie Pasquantino. Let's hear the top 5 latest power rankings heading into Week 16.
The Chiefs are number 1. The Eagles are number 2. The Bills are number 3. The Lions are number 4. And to be honest, those are my 4. There's a whole bunch of teams that could be 5. Like, I think the Steelers are still pretty good. I know they got beat. I guess I'm going to go with the Vikings at 5, with the Packers being 5, 6. That's where I'm going to go. That division's really good. The what is it? The NFC North?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I keep wanting to call it the NL Central, but that's not what it's called.
Right.
NFC North.
So Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Lions, Packers?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. But also, this just reminded me, I've been doing this show this is my third year doing the show, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever connected those dots, but I just want to let you know that that's just a fact. So you're welcome, Kansas City.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about the connection. Alex and I have pointed out a bunch of times, we have been to 3 Chiefs Super Bowls. They've won all 3. The only one we didn't go to was Tampa Bay.
Well, you guys will have fun in Louisiana this year, down in New Orleans.
We've already joked with the boss. We're like, hey, if they make it, we don't go. It's on you. It's on you if this team doesn't three-peat. So the boss is well aware of that. That's true. I guess, Vinny, as long as the Chiefs keep winning Super Bowls, then you obviously got to keep staying on as our viNFL insider. Last one for you, though, just heading into the final couple weeks of the season, do you have, out of these perceived wild card teams, it looks like on the AFC it's going to be the Broncos and Chargers as 2 of them. We'll see NFC, maybe it's the Commanders, something like that. Is there any outside of your top 5 that you could see making a run during the postseason as things stand right now?
Well, I think the out of the AFC, probably the Broncos. The Chargers, have they beaten anybody good?
No.
No offense, not to be hot takey sports radio, but they haven't really beaten anybody good. The Broncos seem like they're probably the best poised to make a run out of one of those spots, just because teams like Bo Nix is playing pretty good. Their defense is pretty good. And I only say their defense is good because Pat Surtain's like the best corner in the league, and that's my only evidence that their defense is good. Haven't seen a whole lot of Broncos football this year, but they have Pat Surtain. He's a very good football player. So I'm going to go with them in the AFC, and then in the NFC, I'm going to go with my Packers. They run the ball, and I like Josh Jacobs quite a bit.
That's a good choice. I think the Packers are a sneaky NFC
title
title
game.
game.
They're kind of in trouble.
They're so banged up.
They're so banged up, and they could get the 5 seed. Not to bring up old stuff, but you don't want Jared Goff playing outside in the cold.
No, it's a fair point. That has absolutely been discussed. They've played so many of their games indoors, even just the way that whole division has multiple games, obviously, between the Vikings and Lions, where they're already playing indoors. So the Lions team is only, somebody put out the stat, Cody, what is it? The Lions only playing outdoors like 4 times, 5 times, something like that this entire season. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially with David Montgomery going down, that hurts that run game a bit. You want to stay inside if you're them.
All right, Vinny, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the weekend, and it sounds like maybe you finally have a weekend to relax a little bit after all this traveling. So.
No, it is go time in terms of getting ready for the season now. When I get home tomorrow night, it is officially go time. Are we doing this next Tuesday? It's Christmas Eve, huh?
Christmas Eve, we're off. Do you want to come on Monday instead?
I'm really more of a Tuesday guy, but I guess I could do Monday.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Thanks, man.
All right, we'll see you guys.
So that was Vinnie Pasquantino with us a little bit earlier today. He joins us as our viNFL insider every
Garfield? He hates Mondays?
Tuesday. Well, he's got his routine, man. And as he said, it's go time. You're going to start seeing all those workout videos again from everybody in baseball. It's full on go time. Spring training going to be here before we know it. I will say
I did get his power rankings wrong, admittedly. Right,
Tex I enjoyed that one.
He said it so fast, and then I got confused. And then I sent out the wrong information.
He corrected the tweet.
He did.
He corrected. No, we were joking at the beginning though of the interview. It looked really cool, and I'm sure very romantic or whatever. The sleigh ride through the mountains. That's a flex.
That's a pretty badass move. And kudos to him for scheduling it without asking.
He said, he gave the props. So he's like, hey, I wouldn't ask the concierge. Basically, like, what should I do?
What pro move?
I know. And I'm like that. The video was really cool. Like that's really. I can just picture. You're curled up in a blanket.
Christmas movie, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He knew you were in the Hallmark movie, but it doesn't sound like he's gonna watch it.
No, Vinny, what's up with that? He's like, oh, you were in that Hallmark movie. I'm like, yeah, you and the wife should watch it. He's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't think I'm going to get him to watch the Chiefs Hallmark. Sure. We're back at it tomorrow. On the show, we'll have Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. We'll have the general manager of the Kansas City Royals, J.J. Piccolo, join us on the show. We'll talk a little more bigger picture, AFC, NFC, potential matchups right now, playoff-wise. But for now, we hand things off to C-Dot and Rob on the drive.